Welcome to Pub Sports Radio. This is the Loshak in the Bag Show, June 7th, Tuesday, 2022. We do this every Tuesday. Jimmy the Bag, it's great to be back. I look forward to this every week. It's a lot of fun, but it's so much more fun in retrospect. In the time, I'm just completely focused and wrapped up in the moment. And then in retrospect, I'm like, wow, that was a lot of fun. But at the time, it's intense, a lot of pressure. I'm having fun right now, though. I think I am. I just need to remind myself of that. And I do whatever I can to attract luck to myself, Jimmy the Bag. 2 weeks ago, I wore a red sweater vest. That didn't work. Last week, I wore this goofy college kid outfit, and I had a mildly winning day last week, so it worked. So I'm back to it again. This is my sense of how goofy college kids, at least from the 90s, would dress with like a Bob Marley shirt here, right? And then, a scruffy hair and a beard and a hat on backwards. I think we're going to have another winning day today, Jimmy the Bag. How you doing, pal?
I'm doing great. I also very much look forward to these Tuesdays. I was sick all weekend, so my whole family's been sick, and then I caught it. So I'm starting to feel a little bit better, which gives me great hope. It is also Belmont Stakes week. So we have the Belmont Stakes big show on Saturday, and I've been getting killed on the Triple Crown races, and I got just badly beaten. I shouldn't laugh. It was awful in the Preakness. So I need to bounce back. But things are going swimmingly here, Pete. My blind betting the Toronto Blue Jays, although it didn't succeed over the weekend against the Twins, it has been superlative since I started doing that, and I got in.
I will just say, I remember when you said that, and you have a fucking great call there, Jimmy the Bag. We've talked about this over the years. Of course, every individual game is its own individual entity, but expecting a team to overall do well or to be overall a fade over a period of games is a legitimate handicapping opinion to have, and to take the approach where it's like, I don't care, I'm just going to bet on this team or against this team for a certain period of time is a legitimate handicapping opinion to have and a legitimate thing to do. And you're calling, it's coming to my head, Jimmy the Bag. Now, I've done well with Toronto last few games, but I was definitely not on that train when you said to be on it. Yeah, that has been in my head several times these past few weeks. Congratulations, Jimmy the Bag. Awesome call right there.
Thank you. So I had a couple bad spots in my baseball season. One very early when I was 16-27, down 14 units. Then about 3 weeks ago when I was down 16.43 units, my low watermark. I came in Friday morning plus units for the first time all season. Now I've slipped back a little bit. I'm down 1.87 units on the year, 102.95 at 51.8%. But I have great hope, Pete. I have great hope with how everything's going. I'm very excited that my Western Conference future cashed with the Avalanche, and I have a great, beautiful Stanley Cup bet on them. And I know we're going to talk about it right off the top, but the Rangers had the chance to throw the knockout punch to the champ. The champ was on the ropes, dizzy, and the knockout punch was not thrown. And now they will rue the consequences and not win another game this hockey season, is my belief. I think that the Lightning are the easiest bet on the board. And I think Game 5 in New York, the Lightning and the under is the easiest bet on the board. And then I think they finish it off in Game 6 down in Tampa. And we have a Lightning Avalanche final. But
first, let me just talk about first of all, just 2 seconds about the NHL game. We'll talk about that much more in depth soon. But I will tell you that for tonight's game, I have absolutely barely even thought about it and not made a move. I was like, I'm not going to make a move until we do this show, and I hear what Jimmy the Bag has to say. One of the great things about this show, Jimmy the Bag, of course, is we do in-depth analysis for individual games. We also talk about betting theory in general and just things to think about. And 2 great examples of just things to think about when you're looking at the MLB season in general in years upcoming are, the Boston Red Sox and the Toronto Blue Jays. Remember in the beginning of the season how absolutely horrific Boston was? And you were just like, what, do they just suck ass now? Or are they going to, and then of course they turned it around in a major way a few days after we talked about it on the show. And that's Exhibit A. And Exhibit B is the Toronto Blue Jays, right? Just absolutely struggling, couldn't score in the beginning of the year. And just keep that in mind in future seasons. When you see a team that should be an offensive juggernaut, and it's just not happening. They're going to make a turnaround, usually in a big way. And if you're vaguely accurate in when that turnaround comes, you can make a lot of easy, positive EV handicapping decisions when that happens, if you can do that. We've had two great examples of it in the baseball season this year.
Yeah, we have. And I remember watching Tuate Latte doing it with the Cincinnati Reds 2 years ago when we were down in Costa Rica, taking the team total overs every game, first 5 team total over, full game team total over for the Reds, and having a $10,000 month. So, also with the Blue Jays, as I've seen you use the bigger spreads, I've not had fear on this run taking the -1s at inflated prices. And there was a lot of 1-run games early in this streak, and the -1 saved me from losing money on those spots. Look, Pete, I love this. I was sick all weekend, and I'm so excited to be back here camping the car with you. I'm so just so excited.
It's just so interesting how we've had two perfect examples of that. Boston beat Toronto already in one season, right? And you will definitely see that in future seasons. And when they do make those turnarounds, it's always, not always, nothing is 100%, but it usually is like an extended turnaround, and you can bet, their -1 lines and their team total overs blindly for a bunch of weeks in a row, and you'll come out significantly positive at the end.
And the Blue Jays 179 average with runners in scoring position told everything to me. The hardest schedule in league, 179 batting average, runner scoring position, and they're 2 games over 500. It was just bet on. Viper NB in the house. He's got Lightning in regulation. Tigers first 5 money line. I'm on Lightning -1 and Tigers first 5 and Tigers full game, so I'm with you there. He's on Astros -1.5. Braves -1.5. I almost did that. I wanted to talk it out. Blue Jays -1.5. I am on the -1 line, but I do also another and Warriors money line. We'll get into that. White Sox first 5 money line. Mets team total over 3.5. One thing about the spot here with the Jays is that I've been betting it as soon as the line comes out. So I've been betting it the afternoon before the game, the game that day even takes place. So I've been beating the market moves because everyone's on the Jays. I've been beating the market moves by 50 to 80 cents every day. So
in baseball, when you have an offensive juggernaut like that, the move is always going to be in their direct. Not 100%, but most of the time, it's going to be strongly in their direction, even if they open as like a -220 road favorite or something like that. Yeah, that's just how.
Yeah, and that's another thing from you and also Antel. Antel did such a good job of not being afraid to take the big favorite line, but getting in as soon as humanly possible. Fap win 3-game money line parlay, Atlanta, Toronto, and Houston at +190. And he says, thanks, Pete, for the birthday pick. I now have a brand spanking new 55-gallon drum of lube. And you'd be surprised how fast that 55-gallon drum goes.
That would last me 5 incarnations, but I hear you, to each his own. Everyone has a different lifestyle, shall we say.
Even in that college outfit, it would still take you that long?
Oh yeah. I don't need lube. I use lube sparingly, Jimmy the Bag. I'm not don't go nuts with that shit. People use lube as a crutch a lot of times in their bedroom activities. I don't have any crutches in the bedroom.
James, San Francisco run line. If you're going to jump on it now. Says Drew's starting to kick in. Guardians first 5 money line in the first game at 12. That's for James S. Armchair MMA says, what's going on, boys? Running a 2-day 10 and 2 11 unit streak coming in today. I love that. Absolutely love that. Great work. Says take a look at Pirates last night. Line moved against me. Interesting because I thought public would be on Scooball. The market had moved towards the Tigers. Has it moved back? That would scare me very much if it has. No, not to me. At my book, the market is only moved towards the Tigers. So there's been at least a 10-cent move since the beginning, but we'll go over all of that. AJ in the house, ready to get to work. There is AM, says titty sauce. Play of the day. Remember AM and Coactus right there. My favorite mother-son capping team in our community. That's AM and Coactus. There is Ron Crawford. Spreadsheet play of the day is Detroit. It's Scooball day. Talk about blind betting the Jays. I've been doing the same with Scooball.
One quick thing, Jimmy the Bag. Fap win. Best bet 3-game money line parlay. Atlanta, Toronto, Houston. Honestly, that makes me nervous. Fap win. All 3 of those favorites make me nervous. I can't tell you which one is going to lose. Hopefully they all win, But we'll talk about each game, of course. They all make me that parlay makes me very nervous. Fap win. Just shouting out my thoughts.
Dabby Cab in the house. I was sick all weekend, but all I heard was rave reviews of the new show here on Pub Sports Radio Morning Sesh. I did watch a couple clips of it, and it looked very fun. Very fun way to start your day. Shout out to all the guys who star in that. Husky Profit on it. And, of course, it's always going to be Dutch Boy Fresh in Dabby Cab. AJ ready to get to work. D. Jenkins, Nut Flush. Alan fresh off a great family vacation. Man, I love the way that family runs together. Walla Dose ready to go. Kyle Hintley ready to go. Jeffrey Blue, Mark Schillingberg. Pretty big weekend for Mark. I love seeing that, putting together positive days in a row. Kyle Hintley, the way he gambles, I respect very much. He's a fearless gambler. He makes big bets and goes after the spots he thinks he's got a nice advantage in. He's on the Jays -2.5. AEOD ready to go. And Dennis Garcia, I was thinking about you. What a perfect cap you had in the Avs-Oilers game. In the Avs-Oilers series. I stayed off of games 3, games 4 just because I had the big future on them, and I didn't really want to risk, but Dennis didn't. So he had a win game 1 and the series. He had -1.5 games, -2.5, and he had 4-0 at +760. Just spectacular work at Dennis Garcia, and I can't wait to cap and break down the Belmont Stakes with you, Dan. TJ Mizzy ready to go. LJ from H-Town. I want to talk with LJ. I've got some ideas for LJ here on the show. I had some ideas while I was wallowing in self-pity this weekend. So LJ, let's talk. Today's a rough day for me, but let's get together on Wednesday. I've got some ideas for you here. Harold Williams, Tyrone Coleman, Nasty Nate in the house. I hope you had a great birthday, Nasty Nate. Nasty Nate says, thanks for the birthday pick, Pete. Yes, it was a casher. We went over your birthday cashers as well. AM says Rangers win the series. I'm betting. No, I'm not going to bet heavily. I'm just going to stay in the $200 unit, which has gone up since I've been around in the playoffs. So it was at $150 for the regular season. But I'm going to bet very confidently against it. And I'm going to take the under in Game 5 in New York, and New York team total under in that game. They missed their chance. The Rangers had their chance. They missed their chance. Sometimes with certain teams, you don't get a second chance.
Right.
And I don't think they're going to get one here. Jeffrey Blue bolts with the cup. I've copied and pasted Dabby Cab's action. And Dennis Garcia says, I can't believe the Rangers didn't throw the knockout punch. You know, my dad was here. And we watched that game together, and we were certain that the knockout, not certain, but we felt like the knockout punch was coming. And when it didn't come, we knew right away. We were like, oh, no.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, no. When it was 2-1 going in the third period, it was like Lightning are going to turn on. And then what they do, put up like 30 shots on goal in that period. All right, let's get to work. I wish we could say what up to all of you guys. You all deserve it. Best bet is Detroit over 7 for Jimmy Gomez. Lucas Ryan in the house as well. De Niro, Chief, Jay Peasy ready to go. Much love to Jay Peasy. Billy Friedrich. I love Jay Peasy's videos in the morning. Jeffrey Moore on Jays -1. Tigers first half -115. Wants Tampa Bay first half. Can't decide the first half for the money line. I can't wait to talk about that game as well. And LJ from H-Town's on the Giants -1.5 and Detroit money line. There's Clint, star of the Die Hard MMA podcast. And Ski says, never wear that outfit to LA. That's from Ski Profit.
Wait, he said it to who?
To me. Says never wear that outfit.
Okay.
Never wear that outfit to LA. Okay, note taken. I
know I look pretty good, so yeah.
You can wear your outfit to LA.
I know I look pretty good.
You can wear your outfit to LA. All right, let's get to work right now. Pete, let's get to work. We start in NHL, and let's go. NHL, my playoff record's been strong, Pete. You're coming off a 2-1 day as well, up 1.0 units. You're very close to the black on the year, and I expect you to get there. You're just 3.34 units down on the season. And this is an opportunity to get there right now.
Yeah.
There's Schnizzle ready to go. Julian Cesario. Let's go, Pete. Why don't you take it away? Set a table for us. Game 4.
Yeah.
Of the Eastern Conference Finals.
Last game, I probably got a little bit lucky and bailed out, and I'm definitely glad. Even before hearing you guys talk about it, just looking at how the game went online when I came back home, I was like, wow, I'm glad I wasn't monitoring that game or watching it on TV, because last game I did take Tampa Bay, but I took a -1, so I got a push, and I know that was looking really bad for a while. I did also take the Rangers team total under 2.5, and I got a winner on that one. And that one, I should have bet bigger. And the first period under was super obvious. I just forgot it. I don't know what I was doing, but I forgot to bet it or even think about it. That was an obvious play in that game that I didn't bet. Freaking didn't bet. Should have had a big bet on that one. I don't know if that's still in play here, but the Rangers obviously almost won that game, the last game. You were watching it, so you know exactly what happened. And now the question is, how do these two teams match up? I mean, it's still the same players. Whatever issues Tampa Bay had in the first 3 games, blowing away the Rangers, presumably they'll still have here because it's the exact same players. But you seem to think that the psychological situation of this series has radically changed, and now the Rangers are just gonna wilt, and Tampa Bay is going to steamroll them. So I guess my first thought on this one, of course, would be to take once again Tampa Bay -1, bet it size appropriately so that if it loses, it doesn't ruin my day. To say nothing of my week, to say nothing of my entire bankroll. But I mean, I guess the question is why has Tampa Bay struggled so much to put the Rangers away in this series, and why will that not be in play here once again in Game 4?
Great table setting job. Yeah. I do not think the Rangers are going to wilt, and I don't think the Lightning are good enough to completely steamroll them. But I do think the Lightning.
It's just like these teams like Tampa Bay, just like a steamroll machine the entire season. And people were talking about how Vasilevsky is like the best goalie maybe in the history of the NHL. And all of a sudden they're struggling against the Rangers. You know what I mean?
I don't know what you mean. I think that's a wrong narrative. They struggled all season long. We wondered why. When I made their futures bets with them, and so did Slatsy, we expected them to flip the switch and turn it on. They did not do that. I didn't know why they didn't do that. They didn't do it all regular season long. And Vasilevsky had his worst regular season that we've seen, at least in his last 5 years. I don't have the numbers in front of us, but really questionable season where we thought the workload was too much. So they were bad this season. So I don't think that the narrative.
I'm just talking about like comments from the comment sections, listening to what you guys said.
Sure. The Vasilevsky 2.49 goals against average, .916 save percentage was not impressive, and this team wasn't impressive. And Slatsy and I didn't get our futures in at the right time. If we had waited, we could have got double digits. There was a 12-1 at times for the Lightning to win the cup, but we got 7-1. What I do think will happen here is the Lightning will win these next 3 hockey games, and they just have a championship pedigree, and we saw it at work in the third period. The Rangers are a really good hockey team, so it's not going to be easy for the Lightning to do it, especially without Braden Point. Now we see that Strome and Goodrow are going to be back for the Rangers, so they didn't lose players, and Point is not going to be back at this point. It's going to take a situation like the Lightning where you have to outshoot the Rangers 51-25 or whatever it was to beat them. They're a really good hockey team. I think Zibanejad is a monster out there, and the way he looks on the power play is extremely impressive. They have a ton of depth, this Rangers squad. Panarin is not that key to their success, which shows how good of a team that they are. And they have Shesterkin in goal, and Adam Fox, is a great defenseman. And don't forget, Carolina got his draft rights, right? Remember, I believe he was traded by Calgary, not his draft rights, but he was drafted by Calgary. He was traded to Carolina, and then he said he wouldn't sign with Carolina, and they had to trade him to the Rangers for a second and third round draft pick and ruin the consequences of that. Fox is a excellent hockey player. So with all that being said, the way the Lightning woke up and the way they started playing is well as a hockey team can play. They just looked so good in that third period, and I think that they carry it over here. They know it's a must-win situation. They step up in these must-win situations, and they outshot the Rangers 52-30. They were playing with desperation. They're going to keep playing with desperation. Right. And you have players stepping up all throughout the lineup. I mean, you look at Nick Paul stepping up. You look at Palat. Andre Palat broke the franchise record with his 10th playoff game-winning goal. So, I mean, think about the great players that they've had in that. We would talk about Stamkos and LeCavalier and Brad Richards, and it's Andre Palat who has the record. And if you go, there's only 4 players, active players in the National Hockey League that have more game-winning goals than Andre Palat, and that's Pavelski at 14, Malkin 13, Taves and Kane at 11. This team is just rolling. They're on another level. They can play Hedman 30 minutes a game. Vasilevsky was being outplayed by Shesterkin, and he was like, I'm not going to let that continue to happen. Kucherov is the best player on the ice, and we saw that in Game 3. And I think that they rule. Ski said that they outshoot them because Rangers play conservative when they get a lead. Well, I think that is a possible explanation for the Rangers taking their foot off the gas. But the Lightning are a juggernaut, and they've done it before, and they'll do it again. And now I think the Rangers are going to have a very difficult time scoring, a very, very difficult time scoring, because the Lightning will do exactly what they did in games 5, 6, and 7 against the Leafs. Understand that the Rangers have offensive firepower that's better probably than the Lightning, and they'll block every shot. They'll clog the front of the net in every situation, and I think they'll win Game 4 and Game 5 and Game 6. And I think that Game 5 is the under. Not saying that Game 4 won't be, but Game 5 is the under. If it goes according to my script and the Lightning win Game 4, then you bet Lightning Game 5 and the under in Game 5, and then you just bet the Lightning Game 6.
Yeah, a lot of great comments in the comments section, and a lot of things I'm wondering and thinking about. Ski Prophet and others are saying that Shesterkin is the answer, and it does seem one thing I don't quite understand about hockey is an elite goaltender. How much can an elite goaltender just change everything? And just if you have an elite goaltender, he can in the playoffs put the team on his shoulders, and no matter who he's playing, they can't score. And is that what's going on with Shesty here? Another thing, Jimmy the Bag, though, is that shots on goal, of course, as we know, are not all created equal. You know what I mean? So if a team racks up a lot of low danger shots on goal, that's not necessarily that meaningful. And also, I was thinking about pressure. In Game 3, the thing that made me so nervous after I made the big bet on Tampa Bay was that I knew that the Rangers would be playing pressure free, and the pressure would be all on Tampa Bay. Now in Game 4, maybe the pressure's on the Rangers, so that would be why Tampa Bay might be a much better bet here as well.
Yeah, I think the Lightning are going to play like there's pressure on them, but you're right. The pressure is also now on the Rangers, and we've seen goaltenders completely carry their team to the Stanley Cup Finals, like Dominik Hasek did with the Sabres. The thing is that Shesty's spectacular play has woke up Vasilevsky. That these are the best 2 goaltenders in the NHL, and so is one going to outshine the other in this situation? I think they're both going to be spectacular. Will that lead us to unders? Possibly. Big Roo says, Jimmy wrote the script. I was at Game 3, electric. Tampa Bay is not losing tonight. Wow, you were at Game 3. Oh, that would have been magic. I was the same as you, Pete. I pushed on the -1 in Game 3, but I did cash the under 5.5. Johnny Gonzalez says, do you think maybe you have a bias towards Lightning because they're the 2-time champs? I don't mean any disrespect at all. I'm just wondering, do you think they can do it 3 years in a row? No, I don't think they can do it 3 years in a row. I don't think they will. I think that the Avalanche will beat them in the Stanley Cup Finals. So no, I don't think they're that good of a hockey team right now, but they have this championship pedigree. They know how to play a certain style of hockey that wins games. They block all the shots. They have Kucherov, who is just a spectacular player in the most pressure-filled situations. And then they have Victor Hedman, who's the best defenseman in the National Hockey League, not named Cale Makar. With all that being said, look, this is not the Lightning juggernaut of the last 2 years. And
Casper 19 is saying, Jim?
Yeah, take it away, my man.
Isn't the pressure more on Tampa? If they lose, they go to Rangers down 3-1. Yes, well, of course, in every playoff game there's pressure, but the pressure was big on Tampa Bay last game, and they responded and pulled out the win. And last game, the Rangers were playing pressure free. They lost, and now they're like, oh shit, if we lose this one, now it's even, and we don't have home ice anymore. So it's like it's a good kind of pressure for Tampa Bay in this one, and maybe a little bit of a bad kind of pressure for the Rangers. That's my take on it anyway.
Yeah, I know. I think it's well put.
And so do you think that, I did have the Rangers team total under in the last game. That's probably a good bet again. And obviously first period under was a good bet. I missed it. It's probably a good bet again here, right, Jim, or no?
Yeah, it's probably a good bet here. It's probably a good bet here. My concern and why I'm not moving on it is that the Lightning have their confidence, have their legs, have the advantage now.
You're right. The Rangers have home ice. Sorry about that. Yes.
And they have their legs. They have the 9 days off now. That's going to help them. Whereas the Rangers are going to get more tired as the series goes on. You don't see teams win 7-game series, and get to the Stanley Cup. It's just too hard. It's just too hard on the body. And you'll play a team that has a freshness advantage, and take over. And Ski. So Strome is supposedly in. So is Blake Goodrow. So both of the Rangers injuries. Dom says Rangers up 2-0, giving it up is going to carry on. And Dom said that they completely got, or Derek Sutton says Rangers got all twisted after Strome went out in game 2 or game 3. So the lines were messed up and they were out of sync. Yeah, but there was a reason why they were out of sync, and it was the pressure that the Lightning were putting on in front of that raucous crowd. Look, you guys, there's nothing wrong with not agreeing with the way I see this series playing out. We had a lot of people disagree with my take on game 1. All those people that disagreed with me cashed. They cashed, and they were absolutely right that the Rangers continued playing strong hockey. They kept rolling, and the Lightning looked out of sorts with the 9 days off. Now, everything changed. Everything changed in that game. The whole series changed. And it wasn't a second overtime goal the Lightning scored. They completely took over in the third period. They went in down 2-1. They scored the early goal to tie it up at 2. Then they scored the late goal, the sharpened chopstick in the larynx goal. And now I think they completely take over the series. And the Rangers will learn from this and be a very tough team for a long time. This Rangers team is going to be a very good hockey team for a long time. But this is the year they learn. And this is the year they rue the not hammering that knockout punch against this Tampa Bay Lightning team. So I have no more to say. I got in as soon as I could, as soon as it was available. I got minus 106 on the -1. I got minus 170 and plus 155. Right now I'd get minus 180 and plus 150. So not that much difference. And Ski Pop said Lightning played better in the series for one period. Says Rangers look like a better team to me, but I'm not a hockey expert. The Rangers have probably better players. So you're right. But the Lightning have 3 key players. They have Vasilevsky, who's been the best goaltender in the National Hockey League for years now, and he's won 2 Stanley Cup championships, and he's been pushed by Shesterkin. They have Victor Hedman, who somehow doesn't have 5 Norris trophies, but he's nominated for the Norris Trophy every year. And he's just a giant back there who does so many things for you. And they have Kucherov, who is the best playoff performer of the last, well, certainly of the last few years, but that we've seen in a long time. So with those 3 players and that nucleus, then you have all these guys blocking shots, all these guys who've been there and done it before, that you're right. Watching this series, you'd say the Rangers have better players and more depth on forward than the Lightning. If you were to say that, you'd be right. But I think they're going to lose game 4, lose game 5, lose game 6, and become a better team probably for it in the long run.
All right. And it should be, again, a relatively conservative, because I'm about to give a first period under and Rangers team total under as official plays as well. As official plays right now. Is that no reason not to like those, right, Jim?
Well, I'd like to move on the Rangers team total under, but the only way I could, get a number that I would find appropriate is by taking the under 2, which I have thought about. I've thought about for a day. For me, I'm just going to keep it real clean here. I think there is a possibility. If the Lightning score early, the Rangers are going to have to open it up. And I think that if the Lightning win, then game 5 is the under, and we bet it as soon as it possibly comes out. That is my plan for I'll be betting the Lightning -1 every game out. But if the Lightning lose this game, maybe I don't bet them in game 5. Or maybe I'm just totally wrong on the script that I've written here for it. But if that's my plan, I think Lightning will win game 4, game 5, game 6. I'll be on the -1 each game, and I'll be on the under in game 5.
All right. Well, you can give me 3 official plays here, Jimmy the Bag. Okay, I'll trust you. I'll go with it. And again, if you bet size appropriately, everything is cool. If it loses, I'll take first period under 1.5 -128. Current line at Pinnacle. I'll take the Rangers team total under 2.5 minus 130. Current line at Will Hill. And I'll take Tampa Bay -1 minus 107. Current line at Pinnacle.
Okay, so what's the juice for the first period under 1.5 minus 128?
Minus 128.
What's the juice for the team total under 2.5 minus 130?
Minus 130, yeah.
And then Lightning -1 is minus 107.
Minus 107, yeah.
I love it. Yeah, Ski saying don't bet them in game 5 after they lose. Yeah, if they lose tonight, I'm not going to sit there and say, oh, they're the Stanley Cup champions. They'll win 3 games and go to the Stanley Cup final. If the Rangers come of age tonight, I will applaud them and I'll let go of my betting plan. But my betting plan right now, as I said, to take the Lightning -1 on each game until they win the series in 6. That's what I see.
Mm-hmm. I guess move on. The only thing I'm concerned.
Let me just say something. Gas Report says I kind of don't get the logic. Respectfully, it's all good. This is my logic. That this young team is playing season champions. If you ever hear the story of Gretzky and the Oilers walking past the Islanders dressing room after the Islanders won the cup, and Gretzky was expecting to see the Islanders, with champagne splashing around, and it wasn't happening. They were wounded. They were there were bandages all over them. They were like, he couldn't believe it. He couldn't believe it. And then he understood the difference between that team and his young Oilers. And he told that story everywhere, went to every player on his team, what he saw when he looked in that dressing room, expecting this champagne party. This is kids playing against men, and the men are going to show these kids that it isn't about how offensive and spectacular your forwards are. It's about having a championship pedigree, knowing how to do it, going out and accomplishing that. Exactly what they did against the Leafs, winning 3 straight 1-goal games. Exactly what they did against the Panthers, the highest scoring team in the last 20 years, scored 3 goals on them. They came out to open this series a little flustered after the 9-day break. They weren't sharp. Now that 9-day break is an advantage to them. So it's fine if you don't, respectfully like or get my strategy here, but that's it. That Hedman's done it before. Kucherov's done it before. And Vasilevsky's the best in the league. And Shesty's pushed him and forced him to be the best in the league. So,
all right. I'm on 3 plays. Shout out to you, Jimmy the Bag. You make my NHL handicapping and betting more profitable and more fun, which is, of course, the main point of all this. Shout out to you, Jimmy the Bag. Hell yeah.
Thank you so much. And also, you guys, people not agreeing with my breakdown, that's part of the fun of all this. So I don't take any offense. And, we all, this is just part of the fun. We don't have to agree. We work together to defeat the juice. If it correlates, maybe you hit it a little harder. And if not, you take the other side. And if you are right, the Gas Report, then I will be, I will have even more respect for you guys backing the Rangers, like AM so confidently backing the Rangers tonight. Let's roll Pete into MLB, my man.
All right. Let's get into MLB, Jimmy the Bag.
Let's go right now. Billy Freeze said Pat Maroon, one of my favorite players, loved him in St. Louis. I mean, look at the guys that they just have these veterans that have been through wars, and the Rangers don't. And that kid line is going to learn a ton. Everybody's going to learn. The whole Rangers squad's going to learn a ton when they lose this series in 6 games. All right, let's get to work in MLB, Pete. And I'm excited to break down this card with you. I've made 4 bets. I've doubled up on 2 games. There was 3 other bets I was going to make, and then I just kind of thought, you know what, let's stop and talk this over before I move on it. AM barbecue sauce, did he play today? Is the Phillies money line. I will copy and paste that right now. Thank you for sharing that with us. Right here, let me grab that. Here we go. All right, we start with the doubleheader, Pete. We start with the doubleheader, 3:10 p.m. Eastern, Game 1. Texas Rangers 25-28, 12-12 on the road to the Cleveland Guardians 24-25, 11-8 at home. We're at Progressive Field in Cleveland, Ohio. I do not have the weather report up here. I apologize. Let me just grab this right here and let's.
Nothing of note. I can tell you that, Jim.
Okay, perfect. John Gray going up against Cal Quantrill. John Gray 1-2, 4.83 ERA, 1.22 WHIP, 44 Ks in 41 innings with 15 walks, 5 home runs. He did not look very good this year until that last start. It was a thing of beauty. 7 innings, 3 hits, 1 earned run. It was a solo shot, 12 strikeouts, 2 walks, and a 4-3 loss at home versus the Rays. He looked like the Gray Wolf out there, the one that we thought could be an ace on a baseball team. Cal Quantrill, 2-3, 3.52 ERA, 1.19 WHIP, 53 2/3, just 33 Ks and 19 walks. He's always had a poor K to walk ratio. He doesn't seem to be able to get the strikeout when he needs it, but he gets soft contact, and he's only allowed 3 home runs in 53 2/3. He's coming off a nice performance, a quality start, an 8-3 win at home versus the Royals. 6 1/3, 6 hits, 3 earned runs, no homers, 5 Ks, no walks. Rangers are hitting just 228, 647 OPS versus righties. Guardians 251, 722 OPS. Both bullpens have been good, especially the Guardians bullpen now has a 3.09 ERA, 1.07 WHIP on the year. But the Rangers bullpen's been decent, 3.52 ERA, 1.25 WHIP. Let's just take a look at the line history and where the cash is, and then hand it over to Pete and watch the magic happen. We have a 15-cent move towards the Guardians in game 1, opened up at minus 135. And interestingly enough, the first move was a big 15-cent move towards the Rangers. The Rangers went from plus 115 to plus 100 at 1 in the morning. Since then, it's just been all Guardians, and now the Rangers are plus 130. But that's an interesting opening move. This total opened up at 9, minus 115 to the over. It's now 9 at minus 120 to the under. And when we go into the cash flow in this first game of the double dip, 4,299 tickets in. 66% of the tickets are on the Guardians and 98% of the cash. Now, it's a small sample size, but all money coming in Cleveland. And then 45% of the tickets, 64% of the cash on the over. Pistol Pete, game 1 of the double dip. Take it away.
Yeah, I did bet this one already. I took the Guardians, even not knowing what the lineups will be. Gray is interesting. He's not terrible, but he's, been a little bit banged up this year. Pitchers like that who are like, a little bit banged up and good, but not great. I'm always happy to fade them off of a good start, especially if they're going on the road. Gray's also been significantly worse on the road this year and in the last few years as well. So again, as you said, Cleveland has a very impressive pen, which is nice as well. Which is why I didn't do like a first 5 innings or something like that. And Gray has also been dealing with a blister. And we know blisters can be a little bit under the radar. You know what I mean? So when you have a guy like Gray, who's good but not great, coming off of an admittedly excellent start with a history of blister issues, during the year, and now going on the road, facing a team like Cleveland, which has a great pen. Texas has an impressive lineup, and I'm not auto-fading Texas right now by any means. They have a lineup that is productive, but I bet Cleveland, and we can make that official. I'll take Cleveland just on the money line, minus 111. That's current line at Pinnacle. If it loses, 1.11 units down the drain. No big deal.
Guardians minus 111 for Pete. I didn't know about the blister situation.
Well, yeah. I mean, pretty much most major league starting pitchers deal with blisters at some point during the year. I mean, but it's just that's just a minor thing that I just threw in there. It's just in general he's good but not great, coming off of an excellent start, going on the road against a team that can hit, so
I like it. I think this is a very interesting look that I think I want to be a part of. I think it all makes sense. I think it all makes sense to me. I like it. Let's talk about game 2 here. And I know you like to see game 1 before you move on game 2. By the way, last week we were together. We had a great breakdown that, truly I believe my turning point was actually last Tuesday with you on the show. And we had a doubleheader. Let's see if I can pull it up here. I should have had it here. We had a doubleheader. So it's Tuesday, May 31st. And I said to you, and we have one of the pitchers pitching here today, which will help. It was Cole Sands versus Joey Wentz in game 2. And they had both gotten off to poor starts in their major league career. And I thought that the first round pick out of high school, Joey Wentz, had a much higher chance of being strong second time out than Cole Sands. And I moved on game 2 before game 1 started. And that was a nice, easy, no sweat casher for me. And we have Cole Sands pitching again here today, which we will talk about. Let's talk about Taylor Hearn and Connor Pilkington, both lefties on the bump. Taylor Hearn 3-4, 5.48 ERA, 1.74 WHIP, 44 and third, 41 Ks, 23 walks, 7 home runs. Great to see Uncle Oliver in the house, Ronnie and Bergie. Also, Johnny K, who's going to be on the Rangers here. Knizzle leading the first 5 under, and Ulysses Hayes, whom we miss and love. Was back. It was in our chat capping NHL with us. Ulysses Hayes. I don't know if you know this, Pete, but he's a spectacular. I mean, like he shows me he's taking spectacular ping pong capper.
Really?
He's unbelievable. He's the best I've ever seen. He puts these parlays together, and it's extremely impressive. Like nonstop cashers from Ulysses Hayes, and I follow him on Twitter. I hope everyone does, and we haven't seen him in a while. So big shout out to Ulysses Hayes. Nice to have him back in action. So Taylor Hearn coming off 4 innings, 6 hits, 3 earned runs, no homers, 3 Ks, 4 walks, and a 3-1 loss at Tampa. Pete, I guess we're all, and same with the Texas Rangers brass, waiting for Taylor Hearn to show what we've thought he's capable of. This guy's had so much potential, and he just doesn't seem to put it together. Connor Pilkington has had a nice start to his MLB career. He's coming off 4-0 win at the Royals, 5 innings, 5 hits, no earned runs, 8 Ks, 2 walks. The Rangers hit lefties nicely, 238, 727 OPS. Guardians versus lefties, 229, 635 OPS. Rangers bullpen, as we said, we already discussed, being good. Cleveland's bullpen being great. Take it away here. Anything you're interested in game 2?
No, not. I mean, I'd have to see what the lineups are and how game 1 goes, and then maybe I'll bet it. But as of right now, no opinion.
Donnie Mac says, I don't care how Taylor Hearn's stats aren't worse than they are. Anyone thinks he is decent, check out his stats cast page. That's from Don Mac, expecting Hearn to continue to struggle. So we have Pete moving on game 1 of the double dip. Rangers, Guardians, game 1.
And D. Jenkins also said Cleveland team total over 4 looks tempting, and I did bet that one as well.
You did?
Yeah.
All right. So that is the double dip. Let's move on to the first game on the board for us. 6:40 p.m.
I also bet the first 5 team total over 1.5 at minus 155 as well. So yeah.
But you're not going to make those official?
No.
Okay. 6:40 p.m. Eastern, Arizona Diamondbacks 26-29, 12-13 on the road at Cincinnati Reds, 18-35, 10-15 at home. We're at Great American Ballpark in Cincinnati, Ohio. Let's see what the weather is here. 76 Fahrenheit, 7.1 miles per hour to right center at first pitch. Dies down to 3.1 miles per hour. So it completely dies down. Let's see what the line history is in this Reds spot. We have a 5-cent move to the Reds. 5-cent moves to Ashcraft and the Reds. And we look at the total. There's been a 5-cent move to the under at 10. So not a lot going on here. Tyler Gilbert, the lefty, going up against Graham Ashcraft, who's had a very good start to his MLB career. Gilbert, though, 0-2, 5.02 ERA, 1.12 WHIP, coming off a 7-6 loss at the Dodgers, 5 2/3, 7 hits, 6 earned runs, 4 homers, 6 Ks, 2 walks. Did not look good. Ashcraft coming off an 8-1 win at home versus the Nats. Now he has another home start here to keep padding those stats. The Diamondbacks sitting just 214, 690 OPS versus righties. Ashcraft 1.53 ERA, 0.96 WHIP in just 17 2/3, so not a ton of sample size. Diamondbacks versus righties, as I said, 214, 690. Reds versus lefties, 240, 682 OPS, and both bullpens are struggling. Diamondbacks 4.62 ERA, 1.42 WHIP. Reds 4.92 ERA, 1.41 WHIP. When we look at the cash in this spot, 4,791 tickets in. 75% of the tickets, 72% of the cash on the Reds. 61% of tickets, 52% of cash on the under. Take it away, Pistol Pete, Diamondbacks, Reds.
I bet this one. I did take Cincinnati early, first 3 and first 5. Ashcraft is, pitching well, getting grounders. Arizona is full of lefties, but he's actually been excellent against lefties in his, short time in the majors and in the minors. That's the case as well. A lot of guys here, they love the stats, but they don't look at major league stats. I look at minor league stats as well, if necessary, or if it will help me out a little bit, Jimmy the Bag. And, he has he gets a lot of grounders, and a lot of times those kinds of sinker ballers who get grounders do, as well or better in certain cases against lefty lineups. And that looks like, Ashcraft. I'm not worried about Arizona being a big lefty lineup. I've been betting on them against certain righties recently, even though they're in general a crappy team. And of course, early only because they have a crappy pen, one of the worst in the majors. So I like Cincinnati here. I bet them, first 3, first 5, and full game. I don't necessarily love betting on a team that just blew out a team and shut them out the day before. It was a shortened game, though. But the numbers, to me, indicate that Cincinnati at these lines have a little bit of value, and I bet it. And maybe we'll double up here. Maybe I'll give like Cincinnati first three and full game because again, Arizona has a very vulnerable bullpen in general. Gilbert is he threw a no-hitter last year, but in general, has gotten hit in the majors this year. Wasn't that good in the minors as well. So I'm not worried about fading him. Not concerned about fading him.
TJ agreeing completely.
Yeah,
agreeing completely.
All right.
Rated run created plus first left-handed pitching 147.
Red's
easy here.
What'd you say?
TJ says Red's easy here.
Yeah, I wouldn't say not too much in sports betting is easy. Although once in a while it is easy, but I don't know if I would call this easy. But I bet it. I'm on it, and I like it enough to give it official. Let's do first three innings minus 130. And then Cincinnati full game as well. There's probably a bunch of volatility involved here, so I'll give Cincinnati -1. Let's do that. How about that? Let's see what line we can get. Cincinnati -1. I'll double up here. Let's see. -1. I guess just plus 100. That's the current line at Will Hill. We can do that. That's fine. Cincinnati full game -1 plus 100, and first three -130. Double up. What the hell? I like Ashford. He's a guy who gets grounders against a relatively weak lineup. I mean, Arizona can be productive against vulnerable righties, but in general, they're a pretty weak lineup. So
I like the look. Anders Larson says both have vulnerable bullpens. I see runs. Excuse me for the coughing. It's going to happen throughout the show. I'm still sick here. Okay, let's keep rolling. Pete, 6:40 p.m. Eastern. Washington Nationals 21-35, 12-17 on the road at the Miami Marlins. 22-30, 12-14 at home. We're at Lone Depot Park in Miami, Florida. Evan Lee, first career MLB start, went 3 2/3, 4 hits, 2 earned runs, no homers, 2 Ks, 3 walks, and a 5-0 loss at the Mets.
I think this is your on the Don now.
Yeah. Here you go. The fucking voice of authority, man. Authoritative voice. Jose Bouquet. Yeah,
yes.
Don.
Excuse me. Okay, well, that helped me get a couple coughs out. Nationals, Marlins. So Evan Lee, 24-year-old, 15th round pick out of University of Arkansas. This year, he was pitching for the AA Harrisburg Senators. He went 0-3 with a 3.60 ERA, 1.33 whip, 30 innings, 37 Ks, 15 walks, 2 homers, going up against Edward Cabrera. And we talked about what Cabrera was capable of and on this show. And if you judge what he did for the Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp in AAA this year, you wouldn't be sure what he's capable of. Although the 32 strikeouts and 23 2/3 is nice. But he wasn't dominant down there, but he was dominant in his first start this year in the show. Clearly wants to stick around in the show. So he goes 6 innings, allows 1 hit, no earned runs, 9 Ks, 4 walks, and a 14-1 win at Colorado. Nats rating 255, 707 OPS versus righties. The Marlins are smashing righties, but can't hit lefties. 207, 600 OPS. Nats bullpen 4.59 ERA, 1.40 whip. And this Marlins bullpen has looked awful of late. 4.22 ERA, 1.33 whip. Let's take a look at the line history here, and then we'll take a look at where the cash is. Oh, it is a dollar. That's what he was saying.
Yeah.
What I was saying about Evan Lee. Okay, thank you. That is sorry. I was sorry. I was coughing and I didn't. So it is a Don versus Cabrera. Okay, so it's not Evan Lee. My bad. Thank you for that. And then let's take a look at the line history here. We have the Marlins opening up at -180, being a 5-cent move towards them. That's it. And from a total standpoint, we have it opening up at 8 and move to 8.5, and it keeps moving up. So 8.5 was at -110, the over to -115 to -120. Now -125 over. And when we look at the cash flow in this spot here, sorry, let me just pull this up here. We have slight value on the Marlins, 5,396 tickets in, 65% of tickets, 80% of cash on the Marlins, 49% of tickets, 52% of cash on the under. Do you believe in what you just saw from Edward Cabrera?
Depends what you mean by believe, Jimmy the Bag. I mean, the guy has legit otherworldly stuff. How repeatable is it? That's up in the air. And is this maybe a letdown spot for him? Possibly or possibly not. I mean, that was that was a huge, intense start for him. He dedicated the game to his aunt who had recently passed away. But his stuff is just unfriggin' real. And when his stuff is on, even his issues with control don't really matter. I mean, walks are not good, but if you're as unhittable as he is when his stuff is on, you can get away with giving up a bunch of walks like he did in his last start. When his stuff is not quite on, then the walks start to hurt him. So, this is tough. I did bet this one, Jimmy the Bag. I wouldn't recommend anyone tail it, but I did bet it, and it might surprise a few people. It might surprise some folks. I took the under, actually, Jimmy the Bag. Adon, people talking about Adon being an auto fade, and I don't necessarily strongly agree with that. But he did have a decent 5-inning start against Miami earlier this year. He is capable of an okay start, and I think that one of these starters will have a good start. It's not unthinkable that Cabrera will actually regress here and have a subpar start. But then out of nowhere, Adon has another, 5-inning, 1-run start. And you're like, where did that come from? And then, of course, it's entirely possible that Adon will come in, 4 innings, 5 runs, but Cabrera is unhittable again. I mean, his stuff is awesome. He has a lot of pitches, and when they're working, it's just unhittable. He made some tweaks in the minors, and I was keeping my eye out on him to see what the results would be and how he would do when he came up in the majors. I didn't bet that Colorado game because it was just too crazy in Colorado, first start back, so I'm not mad at myself that I didn't bet on Cabrera's awesome start. But yes, in general, he is, I am a believer in him. How repeatable it is not clear. And whether this is an automatic bet on spot for him or not is also not clear. But I did bet the under. The numbers say it's a decent play, and I did bet it. Maybe I will give it officially, but yeah, I bet the under.
Well,
I wouldn't take Miami at this line though. There's no way I could do that. My numbers say that Washington has value, but I didn't bet that one, and I'm not going to. But yeah, it's an interesting handicapping situation. In general, I'm a believer in Cabrera, and I don't disagree with the people saying that Adon is an auto fade, but I'm not going to fade him in this spot.
So this total's gone from 8 all the way up to 9 now. You get the 9 under minus 117.
You know what that means, Jimmy the Bag. Now I like it more. Now I like it more. I love the opportunity to do that. It doesn't happen that much, but there you go.
What up, is Stu Chaos in the house?
And in fact, I like it so much, I'm willing to make it official. Let's do under 9 minus 117, current line at Pinnacle.
Wow, I like it. Pete is locked in, under 9 minus 117. There is T-Mac in the house, had canceled the golf tournament, says let's win some bets. Yeah, it's pouring rain here as well. We move on, and Maxwell saying that first time seeing Adon only batting 229 against them, third time 385. Third time 385 against them.
Yeah, look, do I feel nervous having gone public with an underplay with Adon starting? Of course.
I like it. I respect it.
And that's all I have to say about that. Yeah, of course, obviously, yes.
Let's move on. 7:05 p.m. Eastern is next. The Chicago Cubs, 23-32, 12-12 on the road at the Baltimore Orioles, 23-33, 14-15 at home. Orioles almost 500 at home. We're at Camden Yards in Baltimore, Maryland, Charm City. Let's see what we are dealing with here. 76 Fahrenheit at first pitch, 15.4 miles per hour out to left center. Dies down to about 11.5, but wind blowing out to center for this one. Keegan Thompson just delivering the goods. And the Cubs are winning all of his starts. It's pretty wild to watch. Going up against Kyle Bradish here. Let's see what we are dealing with from a market spot. They opened up at a pick'em. There's been a 5-cent move to the Cubs. 5-cent move to the Cubs. From a total perspective, it opened up at 9 at a pick'em, and we're now at 8.5, minus 120 to the over. And we go over to the cash flow in this Cubs Cards divisional battle. Oh, sorry. Did I say cards? Sorry, Cubs Orioles. What the hell? Sorry, I'm looking at the cards game. The Cubs Orioles. Here we have. The hell is it? Sorry. Here we go. We have half line value given to the Baltimore Orioles from Sports Insights. So they have only one team in this whole card has full line value, and they've given half line value to Ranger Suarez and the Phillies and Kyle Bradish and the Orioles. 6,746 tickets in. 74% of the tickets, 74% of the cash in on the Cubs. It's only moved 5 cents. 52% of tickets, 78% of cash on the under, and we've seen it drop to 8.5. Keegan Thompson's last start, 5 1/3, 5 hits, 3 earned runs, 3 Ks, 3 walks, and a 7-5 win at home versus the Cardinals. He has a 1.99 ERA, a 1.08 WHIP. He's allowed 3 home runs in 45 1/3. Kyle Bradish coming off a 9-2 win at home versus the Mariners. He went 4 2/3, 6 hits, 2 earned runs, 1 homer, 6 Ks, and 2 walks. A bloated 6.82 ERA, 1.55 WHIP on the season. Has allowed 8 home runs in just 33 innings. Cubs are hitting 244, 711 OPS versus righties. Orioles 231, 669 OPS. Cubs bullpen 3.92 ERA, 1.26 WHIP. Orioles bullpen being very good this year. 3.13 ERA, 1.23 WHIP. T-Mac says Cubs bats are live. Love them today. CT Bay says Cubs run line at plus money. Robert Franklin on the Cubs first 5 minus 115. See what Pistol Pete Loshak's going to do. Cubs Orioles.
Well, yeah, I did bet all that. I do like the Cubs here, although probably not quite as much as other people do. But I do like them. The issue here is that Thompson is good, not as good as we've seen from him so far, but he's still good. And Bradish is bad, but not as bad as we've seen from him so far. And so, I don't necessarily like betting into that. But nevertheless, Thompson at the moment is still good and Bradish is bad. Although, in a year or so, Bradish might make a big turnaround. And it could come here, but right now my numbers indicate that he's average at best for now. And it's a low line. The Cubs, of course, have an excellent bullpen. So, it's the line is a little bit, quote unquote, suspiciously low. And I don't love to hear that Sports Insight says there's value on Baltimore, but it is a low line. I think there's volatility involved. So I'll take the Cubs on a -1 line. It's I don't think it's the slam dunk that some people might think it is, but it has some value, I believe. I could be wrong, but that's what I believe. I did bet it. And what the hell? I'll make that one an official play as well. I'm seeing get plus 119 at Heritage. We can do that. Cubs -1 plus 119.
Cubs -1 at plus 119 is locked in for you, Pistol Pete.
And I would also have to the Cubs team total over at 4, which I bet as well.
We move on to but that's not official.
No, I might make it official, but for now, no.
Okay. We move on to a holiday, national holiday here at 145 Jameson Avenue in Parkdale, Toronto. Treat Scooball Day. And he's been very, very good to us. Very good to us. And he's been very good to us for a long time, ever since he got off to that terrible start last year. And we knew the advantage we had on him because he's a hell of a pitcher. And he's showing the world this year. I've moved on them first 5 in full game. And I can understand what people wanting to back Quintana. Jose did it in Quintana's last start, an 8-4 win at the Dodgers. Quintana's been very good this year, surprisingly. But nothing's going to get in the way of me not betting Scooball. And the 3.5, if Quintana has a really good start, the 3.5 I believe will cash. But I'm waiting for the shoe to drop with Quintana. So I'm not on any unders. I'm only on the Tigers' first 5 in full game. And I had to pay juice. It cost me legit money. I would like to see what it is right now. It's exactly where I got the first 5 at -120. Interesting. So the first 5 is moved to -130. Full game at -125. Let's talk about this spot here. And TJ said, interesting stat I found out today, but not taking action on it. Pittsburgh is 0-6 off a day of rest, off a day of leisure. Spreadsheet play today from Ron Crawford is the Detroit Tigers. Let me get that here. And we're in PNC Park in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. So let's start with the weather over here at PNC Park. It is 70 Fahrenheit at first pitch, 5.4 miles per hour to right center, gets up to 7.1 and drops to 4.1 miles an hour. Then we'll look at the line history here in Pittsburgh. Let's grab this here. Where is it? Here we go. Scooball Quintana. Tigers opened up at minus 115. They got up to minus 125, and that was, I forget who was saying the market had moved back towards Pittsburgh. There had been a 5-cent move back towards Pittsburgh, but it's come back at 10:51 a.m. So there's been a 10-cent move overall to the Detroit Tigers. From a total standpoint, opened up at a pick'em. There's been a 5-cent move to the over. And when we look at the cash flow in this Tigers spot, 6,430 tickets in, 67% of tickets, 86% of cash on the Tigers, 56% of tickets, and just 34% of cash on the over. Excuse me. Scooball's last start, 7 innings, 2 hits, no earned runs, 6 Ks, 1 walk, and a 5-0 win at home versus the Twins. And I'm going to keep coughing. So why don't you take over, Pistol Pete? Tell us what you think about this spot here.
Yeah.
Tigers, Pirates.
This is an interesting one. I mean, Scooball, very impressive. Have no problem betting on him having a good start. Obviously, as people are talking about, a little tough to bet on the Tigers in any capacity just because they're so bad offensively. I did, just because it was such a low line when the lines came out, I took Detroit first 3. I also think that the first inning, no run in the first inning has some is a decent play, as people have been mentioning in the comments section. I see, and I think I'll make at least that one official to start. Detroit, Pittsburgh, no run in the first inning, and I bet Detroit first 3 innings. I'm on the fence about giving that officially, but I did bet it. And again, Scooball is obviously, for the most part, the real deal. Pittsburgh is an impressive team in general. Not impressive, but they've got a young lineup right now. And they had that sweep against the LA Dodgers. Huge shout out to Jose Bouquet. I had the Pirates first 3 innings in that first game, but I did not have him in the second one. Jose Bouquet did, as a big underdog. And I don't know whether he had him in the third game, but
he did.
He did?
He had him in all 3 games.
Oh, this is going to kill me, but fucking credit where credit is due to Jose Bouquet. You are the fucking man. You know what I mean? Last week's show, I said, these kids fucking think they know it all. And Jose Bouquet, he doesn't know it all. But he knows more than me. I'll give him that. He knows more than me. Shout out to Jose fucking Bouquet. I did have Pittsburgh. Shout out to Jose Bouquet. I did have Pittsburgh first 3 in that first game, and I cashed with it, but I did not have them all 3. Pittsburgh has a lot of young guys who a lot of people haven't heard of. They're probably going to be an underdog in spots with value, although probably not like that Dodger series. But so I'm not too excited to bet against Pittsburgh in general going forward, just because, again, a lot of young, hungry, energetic guys who probably are going to be a bit undervalued as a group. But Scooball is Scooball, so he is who he is. And I'll take no run in the first inning to start. I'm seeing minus 139 at Pinnacle. Let's see if we can get a little bit better somewhere else. Let's see what we can get. I'll definitely give that. Quintana is a serviceable veteran. Righty power is suppressed in that park. And so when you're facing, a team that doesn't have any righty power to begin with, okay, he's probably, is a shoe going to drop here? Maybe, but I'm not going to bet on it. I'll bet against it. Yeah, I'm seeing minus 139. We can make that official.
I'm seeing minus 125 here at Bet365.
Thank you very much, Jimmy the Bag. I'll take that one as my official play. Detroit-Pittsburgh, no run in the first inning, minus 125. And, Detroit at Will Hill is just minus 125 first 3 innings. It's just, Scooball is so legitimately good, but Detroit offensively is so legitimately bad. You don't want to be in that situation where you're just praying for Scooball to throw 3 shutout innings so that you can get away with a push. You know what I mean? In order to win that one,
I do, but the Tigers
you got to get around Detroit.
They hit a little bit against lefties. A wee bit.
They're fucking ass. I'll just, I bet it and I hope it cashes. I'm probably going to be praying for a 3-inning shutout appearance from Scooball so that I can get a push. No run in the first inning is official, though. -125. We'll stick with that.
And I got the first 5 -120 in the full game -125. So I'm right there with you. Well, not really. I'm on the Tigers. Robert Franklin leaning under 7 says Scooball should keep the Pirates in check. Tigers bats will keep themselves in check. Harold Williams says I like Scooball but can't take the Tigers because they can't score runs. And he's with you on that no runs first inning. No runs first inning. All right. Let's. Lucas Ryan says he could have went the rest of his life without another raise it. Well, you're watching the wrong show because there's going to be a lot more than that, and that's what happens when you call a sweep in Chavez Ravine and it hasn't been done in 20 plus years.
If the pirate calls, can we raise it?
I don't know why it just doesn't get annoying to me at all. I kind of enjoy it each time. Okay, this is the spot that I almost moved on, and I thought I should wait and talk it out. I wanted, and I know that offenses, if there's a place they like to go to die, it can be Tropicana, but I think, and it hasn't moved at all. I was very interested in the first 5/4 here. Very interested. Johnny Kohler says Jimmy Bag never replies to my emails asking him to be my lawyer. Johnny, I'm not receiving those. Emails somehow. But I'm interested. Consider me interested right away. St. Louis Cardinals 32-23, 16-12 on the road at the Tampa Bay Rays, 31-23, 18-13 at home. We're at Tropicana Field in St. Petersburg, Florida. Dakota Hudson has been good, and it's been strange watching him pitch. He's been very good at home. Still, in 51 2/3, he has 28 Ks and 24 walks. That's not the kind of K to walk ratio that you hope from a pitcher that you're going to count on this year. And it's pretty clear the Cardinals are going to count on Dakota Hudson. He has only allowed 4 home runs in 51 2/3 with a 2.96 ERA, 1.32 whip. His last start was very good at home over the Padres. 7 innings, 4 hits, 1 earned run, no homers, 3 Ks and 1 walk, 5-2 win. Jeffrey Springs is lights out. But as E says, Cardinals smash lefties. I mean, I think that I guess I have difficulty in this situation when you have an offense that we know rakes against lefties. And it reminds me of the Rockies' cool Fried start. And this was, I believe, on Friday. I took the Rockies' first 5 at +165, and it was 0-0 after 5 innings. And I use your approach with whether or not there's volatility expected in the game, and with the total at 11, I had to take the +165 score. We're not talking about a total at 7 or 7.5. And then sure enough, I would have needed the +0.5, which I could have got at a decent price to get paid here. But my expectation was that the Rockies smash lefties. They should be able to get a little bit off of Fried, who's a very good lefty. And here's the same situation. That's why I wanted to talk it out and hear what you have to say about it, because Springs, we know, is very good, but his last 2 starts haven't been great. In his last start, it was a 4-3 extra inning win at the Rangers. He allowed 2 solo shots to the Rangers in 5 innings, 5 hits, 7 Ks, 1 run, 1 walk, 2 earned runs. Cards rating 274, 786 OPS versus lefties. The Rays don't hit righties, 226, 673 OPS, but Dakota Hudson is not good on the road. Cards bullpen 3.75 ERA, 1.28 whip, and as we imagine, the Rays bullpen just very good, 3.18 ERA, 1.15 whip. So that is the situation. I'm very interested in that first 5/4, but I didn't move on it because I wanted to hear what you thought about it, Pete. Let me just give you a quick line history here, and then we'll go with the cash. The Cards open up as +125 dogs, 10-cent move to the Rays, so they're now +135. These are bet 365 line movements. The total opened up at 7.5, over at -120. There's been a 5-cent move to the under. That was another thing that kind of stopped me in my tracks. And when we talk about where the cash is, 5,422 tickets in, 48% of the tickets, 54% of the cash on the Rays, and then 52% of the tickets, 68% of the cash on the under. So all those things led me to not want to move on it. Noli No says the Cards struggled against the last 3 lefty starters. Noli No's got off to a 4-2 start on our show. And his first, finally, we got him back. He'll be back with us again tomorrow. So Noli Knows will be here with us on Wednesday. Pistol Pete Loshak What do you think of this spot, and was it wise to not bet it yet?
I'm going to pass on this game completely. Yeah, St. Louis rakes lefties, but Springs is a big changeup guy, and changeups tend to be more neutral when it comes to lefty-righty splits. Hudson, I saw in the comment section, people are talking about how he, is significantly worse on the road. And again, Hudson is a big sinker baller. He throws a lot of sinker balls, so there's a lot of volatility involved with him. Half of his starts are lights out. Half of his starts, he gives up a bunch of runs. And I do think this is more likely than not to be one of the starts where he gives up a bunch of runs. It's possible I might have a bet on this one in, by first pitch. But, and if I do, it'll probably be on the over or the first 5 over or something like that. But as of right now, I was leaning Tampa Bay. My numbers like Tampa Bay, but I didn't bet that one yet. I might be on that one as well. But again, numbers like Tampa Bay, my gut tells me to stay off that. And the numbers like over a little bit and the first 5 over, but I haven't bet that one yet. And I don't know if I will. But it's going to be a pass for me, Jim, as of right now.
Well, that's enough to make me want to stick to my guns and move on this first 5 over. First 5 over.
I highly recommend that you consult with, Jose Bouquet, Noli Knows, Big Ragu, some others before you listen to what I have to say.
Speaking of which, all records are up to date on the show, except for the specialty taint and say hey and spreadsheet, which I'm working on. I fell behind on, but so just so you guys know, they've been spectacular as a group. And Babano, listen to this, Pete. Babano started on our show 1-9. He's now 42-30.
There you go.
Coming off a 10-3 day, he's 42-30 plus 10.12 units with an ROI 14.06%. So Babano is leading the way. And then we have a bunch of cappers in a really nice spot. Connor Mack 9-6 plus 3.99 units. Big Ragu 21-18 plus 3.26 units. Dabby Cab 7-4 plus 3.24 units. And Noli Knows 4-2 plus 1.87 units. So the group has been very, very good. And I'm proud to be associated with all of them. Okay, well, I'm interested in that first 5 over. Jenkins saying Cards bat struggling against Steele was concerning. Roger, that is rolling with you on that Reds game. So am I. Southpaw on that over 7.5. CT Bays gave us the stats here. Okay, well, I like it, and I want to move on it. Here's another spot that I was going to move on. I was like, you know what? It's just too expensive, probably. I almost moved on the first 5 -1 on the Atlanta Braves, but I stopped myself. Let's talk about this one. We're in Truist Park in Atlanta, Georgia. We will start with the weather here. Pull it up. How is it? Here we go. The weather in Atlanta. 77 Fahrenheit and light rain at first pitch. 15.8 miles per hour out to left center, and then the wind stops completely, and I mean dramatically. It just stops. I'd be very curious to see if RotoWire also has 15 miles per hour out, and they don't. They have 7 to 8 left to right. I'm going to refresh this because that's just a dramatic weather change, and we've used these dramatic weather changes to our advantage, as it's not been in the capping of some of these games that we've been talking about where we've seen big moves in one way. And yeah, the weather's okay. So the weather is something happens. I guess the storm is done by like 5 or 6 p.m. because I just refreshed it and it's completely different. There is no wind to speak of. 4.2 miles per hour left to right, and it's not going to be raining off the top of the game. So I'm happy that I refreshed that. Let's move over to the line history here in this Braves spot. Kyle Wright at home against Cole Irvin. There has been a 20-cent move to the Braves. It was 25 cents, but it's come back 5. From a totals look, it opened up at 8.5. And the first move was towards the under. The first move went down to 8. Since then, it's gone to 8.5 this morning and now 9. So we've had a full run move from 6:29 p.m. last night. And when we look at the cash flow in this Braves spot here, we have $7,000 376 tickets in, and they still see some line value in the Braves, very slight, little sliver of value. 77% of the tickets, 84% of cash. Then 54% of the tickets, 68% of cash on the under, and it's moved up a full run since 6:30 last night. Cole Irvin coming off a great start in the 5-4 loss at home to the Astros, 5 2/3, 6 hits, 1 earned run, no homers, 2 Ks, 2 walks. He has a 2.96 ERA, 1.23 WHIP, but just 28 Ks and 45 2/3. And the question about whether he can be trusted on the road is a very relevant question. Kyle Wright, 2.41 ERA, 1.07 WHIP, 66 Ks in 59 2/3. His last start, 6 innings, 3 hits, no earned runs, 5 Ks, 5 walks, and a 6-0 win at the Diamondbacks. A's don't hit righties at all, 204, 580 OPS. And the Braves hit lefties hard, 253, 784 OPS. A's bullpen has been struggling of late, now 4.09 ERA, 1.39 WHIP. And the Braves bullpen has been getting better seemingly every day this year, now 3.17 ERA, 1.18 WHIP. Take it away, Pistol Pete. The Braves, as this big of a favorite, did you move on anything in this game, and do you want to?
This might surprise some people, and it also might be incredibly wrong and stupid. But I'll tell you what I did. Well, first of all, I bet the over, and I got 8, right?
Wow.
I also did take a shot with the Oakland team total over. I got 3, and, I'll just admit this. I did also take a shot with a little bit on Oakland at like plus 205 or whatever, and a little bit on Oakland -1 at like plus 270 or whatever I got. Oakland is not a good offensive team, but, a lot of times when these weak hitting offensive teams are playing in an extremely hitter unfriendly home park, and then they go on the road to a more favorable park for hitters, they get a boost that maybe the markets aren't necessarily anticipating. I'm not saying Oakland is a good offensive team, and my much bigger bet on this game was just on the over in general. But I did bet Oakland a little bit at the big dog line. Wright, of course, had a great start to the season. Regressed a bit, which we talked about, which a lot of people were expecting. And this is at 8. I don't know if I would take it at 9. It's not unthinkable that Wright could throw a shutout and Atlanta could get you a push or a win on their own. And it's also not unthinkable that Irvin could be, surprisingly good, but that Oakland get you the over. So I like the over here, although now it's up to 9, I think. So that's a lot iffier. But I did bet the over 8. I bet the Oakland team total over 3, small, and I bet Oakland as a huge dog here, small as well. Atlanta is obviously a great. They're a team with a strong offense, I think, that I'm still, happy to bet on, for sure in spots to have a big offensive day. But in this spot, considering the line, that's what I did, Jimmy the Bag. So I don't know what I want to give officially, but that's what I bet.
There's some funny stuff coming in from the chat. E says if the A's win tonight, he's going to take a 2-week break. He's going to take a break. He's going to shut down.
They're a shitty team, but they're also a major league team, playing their first game away from their extremely hitter unfriendly home park.
And Deacon Mike is a sight for sore eyes. I was wondering where you've been, and
Deacon Mike, shout out to Deacon Mike.
I love him. Puts a big smile on my face always. Very, very, very interesting take. One I was not expecting. I think the angle of the team who plays in a very hitter unfriendly ballpark going out on the road, especially early in the season when their numbers are atrocious, and what they played just 26 of 56 games. So I don't know, 30 games at home, 26 on the road. But that maybe they get on the road and the market won't, be able to, or will be behind on their upcoming uptick in offense is very interesting.
Yeah, I bet over 8 -120, and if that were still available, I would definitely give that one officially. At Pinnacle, that's 144 right now, so that's.
Yeah, no, you crushed that move. Wow, fascinating breakdown, and you're the only person saying this. Bruce Hayward saying A's are not winning this game. Braves super run line, but Johnny K has jumped to your defense. He also likes the A's. Noli knows on the first 5 under 4.5. And Saturated says the A's equal dumpster juice.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that.
I find that a fascinating breakdown, though, Pete, and I will not be on I'm going to cut my possible Braves action. Let's move on to 7:40 p.m. Eastern. Now, I only have futures on 2 teams in Major League Baseball. 3, actually. I got the Giants season-long under. But Yankees, Twins, I have the Jays division futures and I have the White Sox division futures now. So I can't lose really here. I can't lose. Target Field in Minneapolis, Minnesota. This Yankee train keeps on rolling. 39-15 on the season, 16-8 on the road. Twins are 32-24, 17-11 at home. Let's start with the weather in Minneapolis. 71 Fahrenheit at first pitch, 7.8 miles per hour out to left field, and it does drop to 4.8 by the end of the game. Take a look at the line history here at Target Field. We have, now this was supposed to be the Bailey Ober start, but of course he's now on the 15-day DL, so we expect it to be Cole Sands. I don't know if that's changed. If it has changed, please let me know. There's Millsy in the house. And Deacon saying, Bovada taking the game total over under home run prop off the board screwed me. And I don't know if you saw him work last year, Pete, but Deacon was destroying the home run props.
No shit.
Yeah, he was taking, especially at Wrigley Field, because he has, and I've been doing this too on games. He has the Wrigley wind cam up all day. It's like the fireplace during the holiday season. He has the wind cam of Wrigley up on his TV all day, all night. So he's always perusing the win there, and that sucks that they took it away. But obviously, they took it away because people were succeeding, and you were one of them on it, which is why Bet365 doesn't give you first 5 team totals because they lose on it. And when you see a spot that you got to take advantage of wherever it is. But do you know any other book that does home run totals, Pete, as a prop? Because we haven't been able to.
I'm sorry. You mean player to hit a home run? You mean?
No, team home run totals.
Oh, not off the top of my head. No.
If anybody does know a book that does it, let us know because Deacon was destroying it and Bovada pulled it this year. So please let us know if you see. There were 2.5s, and often he would get plus money on these 2.5s. All right, let's talk about Target Field in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Jamison Taillon, 6-1, 2.30 ERA, 0.90 WHIP, 58 2/3, 44 Ks, 5 walks, 4 home runs. Pete, we've been talking about the Taillon draft, and we haven't done it with you. Harper first, Taillon second, Machado third. The shortstop that the Yankees picked in the first round was their shortstop of the future in your, Bronx guy. Do you remember Cito Culver being picked? Do you remember that? He's in the independent league right now. Cito Culver was the first round pick that year by the Yankees, their shortstop of the future.
Who the fuck is that?
Okay, Cito Culver. That was the draft of Andrew Wachachowski as well. Taillon has been unbelievably good. In his last start, 8 innings, 2 hits, 1 earned run, no homers, 5 Ks, no walks, and a 2-1 win at the Angels. And I expect Cole Sands. Please tell me if I'm wrong about Cole Sands. I expect him in. Is that who you expect to be? Oh, yes, it is. My producer, Jose Bouquet, the best in the business, has it up on the board. In AAA St. Paul Saints, he went 0-4 with a 7.23 ERA, 1.55 WHIP. He looked terrible in St. Paul. He has not looked good in the show. Now, he is a 5th-round pick in the 2018 draft out of Florida State, but I don't know why anybody would want to back him in any situation. In his last start, the Tigers got 4 earned runs in the home run off him. Everybody just made fun of the Tigers offense. So what's he going to do here against the Yankees team that hits 248, 750 OPS versus righties, while the Twins hit 247, 724 OPS? The Yankees bullpen being very good, 3.08 ERA, 1.18 WHIP. The Twins bullpen has been struggling of late, 3.81 ERA, 1.27 WHIP. Let's talk. Oh, there's not a market move for us, and there's not a ticket count either for us. So I guess you can't bet this game. Is it not available to bet? Let me just see if it's available for me here. It is off the board here. If it is Cole Sands versus Taillon, is there anything you're looking for? Is there anything you might pounce on once it becomes available?
Yeah, I mean, I have my note here. If it's Cole Sands, I'm looking to bet on the Yankees one way or another, or maybe 3 or 4 ways. Yeah, I mean, Taillon has been pitching great. Minnesota has a tough lineup, though. Very impressive what he's done. But yeah, I mean, the Yankees are the Yankees at the moment, and Sands is is what he is at the moment. So I'm not seeing any lines yet. Although Will Hill has a line, but with no pitcher listed for Minnesota. But yeah, it's I don't know what the lines will be, but if it's Sands against Taillon, I can't see how I won't at least be on like the Yankees' first 5-team total over.
Wow, Roger that. What book is this available at? Yankees at -172 and run line -1 at +112. Man, if that was
So
available for me,
who's the starter though?
well,
do we have a starter? Do you have starter confirmation for that line?
I don't know. Let's find out. Roger that. Can you let us know if you have starter confirmation and what? Oh, FanDuel has it, says Harold. FanDuel has it. Oh, Harold, do they have the pitcher listed as Cole Sands? Oh, in that bookmaker, it's available right now. Full game New York -155, run line +100. If that was available, I'd bet that right away.
Okay, but who's bookmaker listing?
Yes, Billy, could you let us know who bookmaker is listing? We shall see, or you could just bet at action, of course. Is that something that you would want to move on with this line available the way it stands? No pitchers listed.
No.
Okay. All right. 148 is the money line at FanDuel. Thanks, Max Swelly. And bookmakers action only, says Leonard Porsche Jr.
Wait. So FanDuel has a lineup, but no listed pitchers?
Yes, and Pinnacle is supposedly. Oh no, I've got it. Let me just refresh this. I've got it locked. Let's see if I can read that Pinnacle and see if I can open it up here. And no, it's locked for me at Penny.
All right. Well, maybe by the end of the show, something will be up.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's move on. 8:10 p.m. Eastern. Los Angeles Dodgers 35-19, 18-9 on the road at the Chicago White Sox. 25-27, 11-13 at home. Guaranteed rate field in Chicago, Illinois. Mitch White versus Michael Kopech. The Gas Report has it -159, run line +105. Mitch White, last start, 8-4 loss at home to the Pirates. 5 innings, 4 hits, 3 runs, 1 homer, 7 Ks, 2 walks, 4.79 ERA, 1.21 WHIP on the year, 22 Ks and 20 2/3, but 8 walks as well. Kopech was lights out until he faced the Toronto Blue Jays, who knocked him around. 3 innings, 6 hits, 5 runs, 2 homers, 4 Ks, 4 walks, and 7-3 loss. Still has a nice 2.20 ERA, 1.02 WHIP, 43 Ks and 45 innings. Dodgers hitting 253, 775 OPS versus righties. White Sox 231, 622 OPS. Ugly numbers versus righties. Dodgers bullpen 3.32 ERA, 1.12 WHIP. There was high hopes for this White Sox bullpen, and they've been lousy. 4.19 ERA, 1.39 WHIP. Dodgers, White Sox. I thought the White Sox showed me what I needed to see in that series against the Rays. Can they carry it over against the Dodgers? Let's start with the weather here in Chicago. 60 Fahrenheit at first pitch, 5.9 miles per hour in, dies down to 2.9. It is cool in Chirac. Let's see what the line history is here. White versus Kopech. The Dodgers opened up at -130. There's been a 5-cent move towards the White Sox. From a total perspective, opened up at 8.5, juice to the under. -115 is now juice to the over at -115. And from the cash flow standpoint, this is the only game on the whole board that has full line value, and that is on the Chicago White Sox. And Kopech, 6,620 tickets. You have 25% of the tickets, 36% of the cash on the White Sox, 31% of the tickets, 44% of the cash on the under. Interesting one here, Pistol Pete. Take it away, Dodgers White Sox.
All right. Well, yeah, I when the line came out, I actually bet the White Sox first 3 innings at +100. And then, as I looked into it a little bit more, I started to feel a little bit nervous about that. But full line value, according to the full game, at least, according to Sports Insights. And I was thinking that, I don't do too much like planned live betting if the game goes a certain way. But the Dodgers have such an edge in their lineup and bullpen that, if the White Sox, are up early in the first 3 or 4 or 5 innings, I was thinking maybe I'll take a glance at it and make a live bet on the Dodgers to come back late. So, the White Sox are definitely struggling, and Anderson, they're going to need him back. And the Dodgers are who they are, and they have a great bullpen. So it's tough to bet against them. It's an extremely suspiciously low line, obviously, all things considered. And Kopech, White is a fadeable guy as of right now, and that's why I made that bet. Kopech, negative regression came from him, and that is not unexpected. But I my numbers indicated that he would probably be good enough early to make a bet justifiable at plus 100. So we're going to need Kopech for my bet to be okay for 3 innings, and I think he probably will be. And again, White is I have no problem fading White at the moment. So I bet again, I bet the White Sox first 3 and a little on first 5 as well. And I have in my mind that I might glance at the game and make a live bet on the Dodgers, maybe if they're down early. But I bet that, and since I bet it, what the hell? Let's make it official. Right now it's minus 105 at Will Hill, so I'll take that line for my official play. But we'll take White Sox first 3 minus 105. Hopefully Kopech will come out and be good for the first 3 innings.
Huh. Interesting, very, very interesting. Yeah, no, Tim Anderson a few days away, but they're really waiting on Eloy Jimenez.
Yeah,
still working up his lower body strength at AAA Charlotte.
I mean, the White Sox. The injuries are hurting them, and they'll get a boost. Like Milwaukee is going to get a boost when their guys come back, maybe today. But yeah, Anderson being out is bad, and the injuries are bad.
They are. Eloy Jimenez, though, they're hoping that he gets brought up at some point this week during this homestand. They're hoping. Billy Fraser says has a setback in his rehab assignment. Yeah, the setback was a little while ago, right? The setback was hurt his hamstring. That was he re-injured the hamstring, but right now, as of a day ago, he's the designated hitter right now, and they're hoping that he still could come back at some point. So we have some questions about this total, Pete.
Mm-hmm.
And let's just look at it again. So it opened up at minus 115 to the under. It's now minus 115 to the over. And if we look at the cash flow for this total in the Dodgers-White Sox game, we have 69% of tickets on the over, but just 56% of the cash. Is there any angle on the total that interests you?
Yeah, I would definitely be leaning over. I haven't bet that one yet because, again, White pretty vulnerable, I think. And Kopech, I hope he'll be okay for 3 innings. But if he's not, that's like good for the over. And after 3 innings, he might be a little bit vulnerable. And anyone who's a little bit vulnerable against the Dodgers can give up a big inning at any point. So, I haven't bet it, but I would lean over for sure.
I like that 3 inning bet. It's available for me as well, but at minus 110.
Mm-hmm.
A new play of the day here is the kick your mama in the gooch bone play of the day from Nasty Nate. It's Celtics trifecta for game 3, which comes up tomorrow. Big review.
You won't get Dodgers at this value many times this year. Yeah, absolutely. And probably, even though I bet the White Sox first 3, if you handed me a free play on the game and I had to use it on a money line, I'd probably put it on the Dodgers.
Big Ragoo has shared his action. So we have Noli Knows as our MLB expert on Wednesday. We have Big Ragoo as our MLB expert on Thursday. Ragoo coming off a nice day, and he's overall on the show 21-18, 53.8% plus 3.26 units, ROI plus 8.
Shout out to Big Ragoo, man. He really impresses me year in and year out with his friggin' knowledge, especially in the NCAA tournament this past year. Shout out to Big Ragoo.
Yeah. On the field and off the field, he's class act. He has Suarez
too. Oh my God! Shout out to Big Ragoo. If someone's kicking ass in the comment section, he's probably a fucking jerk off, off the field. And then when they're a great guy off the field, it's like, all right, great, good for you. Shout out to Big Ragoo.
Cubs first 5 minus a half at plus 120. He's got Cole Irvin over 1.5 walks. A minus 105. Suarez over 4.5 innings. Rangers Suarez. I can't wait to talk about that one. Tampa Bay Lightning first period minus a half at plus 155. I like that. You know what? Why am I not on the Lightning first period? Why am I not? After everything we talked about, what the hell's wrong with me? Why didn't it occur to me that? I guess because you have to take them minus a half. I guess that's the problem. You can't.
Yeah, aren't we expecting another it's nice to have a 1.5 for a little insurance, but aren't we roughly expecting another super conservative, defense-oriented, intense first period that's more likely than not to be 0-0?
If this goes the way I expect it to, I expect the Lightning to outshoot the Rangers 18-5 in the first period. I expect them just to be just all over them in the first period.
Okay, well, how about this, Jimmy the Bag? Rangers no goal in the first period. You could probably get that for like minus 105 or something.
Yeah.
How about that?
Let me just see
Rangers
that
no
right
goal first period. How about that?
Wow. You look at this. That bet is so possible to cash that it's minus 125 at Bet365.
Okay. I might bet
Wow.
that and make that official at the end of this show, Jim.
Wow. I love it. I love it. Thank you for sharing your action with us. I'm going to jump in with that first three minus 105 with you. I like that look. Okay, Pete, this is the game that I wanted to talk about here, and I came very close to moving on the Brewers here. And we talked about Jason Alexander last start with his MLB debut, undrafted. It's a great story. And he got touched up in that first inning, and he gathered his shit together, and he pitched great. Went 7 strong after looking so bad in the first inning. And the story is he's being sent down to the minors right after this game. So there's no pressure on him whatsoever. He knows he's going to be sent down to the minors. He got to start in Wrigley. Now he gets to start at home. And I think it's a great opportunity for him here. Knowing that he's going down, no pressure. Just go out there, have fun. You're going to be down in the minors next. Take advantage of the moment and showing the ability to get hurt in that first inning and still make it through 7 impressed me very, very much. But there are some reasons why I didn't move on and wanted to talk it out. And the other 2 spots I wanted to talk it out, one I just cut was that the Braves -1 first 5 I've cut. The other one I think I'll move on, that first 5 over in the Tampa game. So this is the other one. These are the 3 spots that I wanted to move on. Brewers full game is what I want. Phillies are 25-29, 10-14 on the road. Brew Crew 33-23, 15-9 at home. We're at American Family Field in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Ranger Suarez has just simply not been the pitcher he was last year. And we should stop waiting for him to be that guy. He's not going to be that guy. 4.69 ERA, 1.56 whip. His last start was at home to the Giants, who are hitting lefties harder than we expected. But he went 4 in the third, 5 hits, 2 earned runs, 5 Ks, 3 walks. And I talked about Jason Alexander's last start. 7 innings, 7 hits, 3 runs, 2 of which were earned, 3 Ks, 3 walks. I loved it. And I didn't want the fact that I cheer for these guys who are undrafted and come up and earn their way up. I didn't want that to cloud how I capped the first game. But after what I saw from him, I want to back him in this second game. Phillies are hitting 244, 712 OPS versus righties. The Brewers don't hit lefties, 210, 640 OPS. Phillies bullpen 3.99 ERA, 1.39 whip have not been good. The Brewers bullpen has been good, but not as great as we expected it to be, although at times they have looked great. 3.48 ERA, 1.22 whip. So let's start with the line history and then take a look at the cash and then see if I should pull the trigger here on the Brew Crew. There's been no movement. They opened up at -115. That's where they stand right now. This total opened up at 8.5 juice to the under, -120. It's now 8.5 juice to the over at -115. When we look at the cash here, and this is sort of what gave me the pause. The Phillies, like the Orioles, have half line value here. And that just gave me, then at that point, I was like, you know what, just talk it out with Pete and then decide if you want to still bet it. 57% of the tickets on the Brewers, 64% of cash. Then 14% of the tickets are on the under and 46% of the cash, which is eye-opening. Can you shed some light on this spot? Because I would like to bet it, Pete. Philadelphia Phillies at Milwaukee Brewers.
Yeah, I actually made a mistake with Milwaukee in the recent homestand against San Diego. Probably our man Jose Bouquet was smart and knew that it was not a good series for them, and it wasn't. They were worn down. They had played a lot of games in a short span of time, and I didn't quite get that when I was betting on this. That was a mistake. At some point in the very near future, though, I do expect Milwaukee to get better. Hunter Renfroe is about to come back, and I believe might be back tonight. Also, Adames is expected back. So they're getting some guys back. They should get healthier, and I think they'll get a little bit better in upcoming games. Not sure if this first game with those guys back is the time to bet them. A lot of times when studs come back from injury, it takes a few a few games under their belt to get really into the swing of things. We just saw that with Vasilevsky, a stud goalie. He's off for 9 days, and all of a sudden he's slightly off his game. It's a little bit tough to get into the rhythm. So I'm not sure if Milwaukee is the play here. Having said that, though, I did bet them. Suarez is a guy I don't mind fading. He's kind of vulnerable. And, Alexander, ton of grounders. There might be a sophomore slump here for him, though, after that last game. So there's a lot of volatility here. I did bet Milwaukee -1, though. And if it loses, okay. I expect Milwaukee to be a bit better and maybe to have some betting value when those guys get healthy and back in the swing of things in upcoming games. Not sure if this game is the first one to where it's going to happen. But at the low line, I did bet it. I don't like to hear that Philly has some line value. Philly, of course, with the manager change, ton of energy in their last series. I also wasn't on them there, although I wasn't on the Angels, but I missed the boat on that one as well. And I wish I had paid closer attention and been on it. Philly is a explosive lineup, of course, but they do still have bullpen issues, even though their bullpen is good at times this year, and their defense is horrible and a big liability. So Philly is a team that can be overvalued. A lot of volatility involved with them, as someone in the comments section pointed out. They usually either get 1 or 2 or 6 or 7, and definitely Philly is a high volatility team. So whether I'm betting on them or against them, I'm usually looking to take as big underdog lines as I can. So I did take Milwaukee -1. Wouldn't necessarily recommend anyone tail that. And if it loses, I'll be fine with it. I don't think I like it enough to give it publicly, though.
Why did you take the -1 instead of the money line?
Because of volatility involved with both teams in this situation. I probably should have taken the 1.5 line, but I just took this one.
So if you think there's volatility,
You want to take it off?
You don't agree with the big bets here coming in on the under?
Do I agree with the big bets coming in on the under? My numbers have no opinion on the total. Suarez is kind of fadeable.
Yeah.
And Alexander is I would vaguely disagree. Very, very mildly disagree with the under. And there's a lot of uncertainty and volatility with Alexander as well. Again, ground ball pitcher. Those guys have a lot of volatility just baked into the cake when you throw a lot of sinkers. So, yeah.
AM barbecue sauce TD play of the day is on the Philadelphia Phillies money line.
I would definitely, if I was going to take Philly, take them on the -1 or 1.5 line, or maybe even go for -2.
So interesting. I think that Suarez is not very good, but he's more than capable of having a decent start against this
absolutely.
That doesn't hit very well.
And here's my note: def capable of a good 6-inning start, so don't go nuts. That's my note on Suarez.
Then I think that Alexander here is going to shine in this pressure-free situation where he knows he's being sent down at the end of the game. And what he did...
He's also, Jimmy the Bag, coming off of his first appearance in the majors, coming off a good start, and facing a legitimately tough lineup. So I don't love... I agree with that, but that start was so impressive getting touched in the first inning. It could have all unraveled in that first inning. Yeah.
And it was 3 runs, but only 2 of which were earned. I loved what he showed in that start.
Absolutely. I'm just saying letdowns and sophomore slumps and all that are very real. That was his first major league appearance. Very intense, high emotion. He did well. Awesome. So I don't love the spot for Alexander, to be honest, which is why I don't understand the money coming out of the under. Confusing game, Jimmy the Bag.
Oh, that sucks. Because Noli on the first 5 under 4.5. What do you think about Gerard being fired? Do you agree with it?
Who? For Philly?
Yeah.
Do I agree with it? Sure, why not? Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think much about whether a coach should be fired or not. I just, look at whether they are and then, try to bet accordingly going forward. Yeah. I mean, they definitely the mood in the locker room and the results seem to indicate that it was a good thing. I mean, they certainly pick things up in that series against the Angels for sure.
The question with Girardi being fired was that there's people who believe he was really handling the bullpen terribly. If that's the case, maybe the bullpen's a little better than the numbers indicate.
Oh, I don't have their bullpen as. Let me see what my official bullpen rankings are. I actually don't have their bullpen as rated too bad. It's just kind of like up and down and vulnerable. Let me check my my bullpen. Yeah, I mean, actually, I have their bullpen recently as pretty solid. Yeah, I mean, last couple weeks it's been good overall on the year. Subpar, but I would say still lower mid-range, not bottom of the pack.
And Big Ragu says, hence my bet for over 4.5 innings for Suarez. And Noli knows on the first 5 under 4.5. Well, I think I'm going to move forward on 2 spots here and with enormous nervousness. And so maybe I won't. I think I have enough action, but I'm very interested in Brewers full game in the under 8.5. And but my heart's sort of involved, which sucks. I envy the cappers who only care about beating the market and don't watch the games and don't have their heart involved in all the biases that we have watching these games all day and all night. Let's move on. 8:10 p.m. Eastern. This is another absolutely fascinating game and one where Babano and I were way off. Babano went 10-3 on our show Friday.
Wow.
But we were both on the Astros. Oh, no, is that 2? Yeah, it was this. I think it was 2 starts back now. This was 2 Fridays ago. We were both on the Astros and Verlander in Seattle. And it blew up in our face. 4 home runs hit off of Verlander in the first 2 innings. And now he sees this team again. And he's seen a lot of the Mariners this year. Going up against Flexen, who now has 2 good starts under his belt. 1 really nice start at home and I guess not a quality start. He only went 5 innings in that 7-6 extra inning victory at the Orioles last time. I love seeing that, Kyle. I love seeing that. That gives me a ton of confidence. Excuse me. Okay, so here we go. Minute Maid Park in Houston, Texas. Astros 14-7 at home, 35-20 on the year. What a ball club. Paul Trippy says, I take the Mariners if they were home. On the road, they're just 13-20, but they are playing much better, and it was something that you mentioned in your last show that you were expecting this them to progress to the mean. I'm going to have a little bit of coughing fit here. Why don't you take it over, and then I'll add some stats in a second.
Yeah, this is an interesting one. Obviously, yes, Verlander got shelled 2 starts ago against Seattle, and he certainly got that in his mind. Seattle, though, is I think legitimately quality offense, especially at home. And I'd love to jump all over Houston here as a big favorite if they weren't facing Flexen. He's pitched against Houston 3 times this year. Houston has a powerful offense as well, and all 3 of those starts were pretty decent. Although the last one was 2 starts ago, and he went 7 innings, gave up 1. So I will admit that I did pull the trigger small on Houston first 3 just because I couldn't not. But it's one of those bets that win or lose won't. If it wins, it'll be nice. If it loses, it's okay. Overall, for my bottom line, not a big deal, not a big bet. But I did take a shot with Houston first 3. Verlander, his last 2 starts again, kind of iffy. He is 39, so it's not exactly clear how much of a drop-off we will see from him and when, and our expert MLB handicappers such as, Big Ragu and Jose Bouquet would probably have a much better prediction for that than I would. But his last start, he just kind of he was doing great for like 5 innings, and then he tailed off. So Verlander's, when his decline comes, I think we will see him still have, a good first 2 or 3 innings in many of his starts, and then sort of tail off, 4th, 5th, 6th inning after that. So even though it's a huge line here, and I don't love fading Seattle, and I don't necessarily love fading Flexen, I did take a shot with Houston first 3 innings at like minus 190 or something like that. I think Verlander will be, close to lights out, if not completely lights out, for at least 3 innings here. I think it'll be all right. And Flexen, I think Houston will be able to get to them. Yeah.
Do you think there's a huge, statistically, there's a huge bullpen advantage? Why do you not want that to be involved in your action?
Just because, the first three innings, it's mostly a bet on Verlander. The first 3 innings line is lower, of course. The Houston first 3 is just minus 190, and the full game is into the minus 250s or whatever. And you know what? Whatever. Let's just do it. Houston minus 190, first 3 innings. Let's make that official. I don't care how many units I'm down. I don't care how big of a favorite this is. I don't care what my average, you know what I mean? I don't care about watching the games or beating the closing line or what my record is or what my average line is. I don't give a shit about any of that shit, Jimmy the Bag. Houston first 3 minus 190.
I don't believe that is true, Pete.
No, that's not true.
I believe you're saying that just so you will lose your fear of giving out public picks.
Yeah, I'm just being defensive here and trying to cope. But let's make that official. It's. I think Verlander will come back here and be lights out or very close to it.
Astros opened up at minus 260. They're now minus 245. And the Mariners opened up at 215 and are now plus 205. So slight move towards the Seattle Mariners. 7,944 tickets in. 82% of the tickets, 98% of the cash on the Astros, and it's moved towards the Mariners, which is strange. Then you have 38% of tickets and 51% of cash on the under. This game makes me nervous.
That makes me nervous too.
Yeah, not that I think that you're on the wrong side or anything, but it's not a game that I want to be involved in. And I will cheer you on. Pete's on the Astros, first 3 minus 190. Let's come to double up spot time for me. And one thing I have not been doing is doubling up. I've only been taking the Blue Jays on the -1 line, but today I'm taking them on the first 5 as well. Mm-hmm. And I bet it as soon as it was available yesterday. The Blue Jays are now minus 240. So I got it minus 200. So I don't mind that. I beat that by 40 cents. And the run line's minus 140. I got minus 115. So I beat the run line by 25 cents. Now let's see what I did with the first 5. And I still took it on the -1 line, minus 161. On the first 5, the Jays are minus 230. So what are they minus a half here? The Blue Jays. This is all bet 365 as well. So first 5 minus a half, they're minus 165. And I got a minus 130. Ooh-wee. So I beat the first 5 minus a half line by 35 cents. And man, is it easy when you don't have to cap a game and you just are blindly taking it. I love it. I'm very – Blue Jays have been very good to me. I expect them to continue to be very good to me here. And I just think they run – all till the I think they just don't stop winning. The story that you hear from all these road teams and the staff working at these road games is they haven't seen a team have so much fun when they're together. This team, they love each other. They go out on the road and they no distractions. And they're 14-12 right now on the road. And I expect that number to drastically change. I think we saw a sign of that in the Angels series. We're at Kauffman Stadium in Kansas City, Missouri. Alek Manoah going up against Brad Keller. Brad Keller has not been good this year, and I don't expect that to change at all. Helen Brad Keller is at one point we thought that she would be the ace of this staff, and I think maybe they still are hoping that will be the case. But he's got a 4.15 ERA, 1.24 WHIP, just 33 Ks in 60 2/3, and it's allowed 7 home runs. No 6 2/3, 60 2/3. Excuse me. Alek Manoah is the bulldog. He looks like he could pitch every 2 days. Yes. He's a throwback. 1.98 ERA, 0.91 WHIP, 57 Ks in 63 2/3, 5 home runs. He gives the Blue Jays a toughness.
Yes,
and it's important in baseball, I think, to have that kind of toughness and swagger. T says Manoah easy. Armchair says she's beautiful. Talking about Helen Brad Keller. Thank you, Armchair. And I doubled up and smashed these market moves. By the way, we have Tease, Pistol Pete. I hope he can come on the show with us together, but he does our WNBA show now. And
yeah, I'm following WNBA.
Yeah, and he's a great capper, and he's 2-0 here giving us picks on our show. And I love him. So big shout out to Tease. You can catch him every day that there's games at 4 p.m. Eastern. And if there is an NBA game, he'll go on right after the NBA hub. All right, let's take. I already went over the line history, so we don't need to bother there. Let's talk about the cash flow in this spot. 8,688 tickets in, and as has been. And we've seen this quite often on this run, that looking at the market, judging the market, if I was only studying the market, I wouldn't have moved on some of these bets on the Jays. And here's another one. 10% of the tickets on the Royals, but 25% of the cash. We've seen a lot of sharps disagreeing with all of the money that's on the Blue Jays. I'm telling you, if any of you guys want to bet against the Blue Jays, please wait until first pitch, because everybody's betting them heavy, and you're going to get a much better number. So don't get in early to fade the Blue Jays. Wait till the very last second. 57% tickets, 70% cash on the under. The Blue Jays numbers versus righties, 243, 727 OPS. They were hitting under 700 against righties as of a week ago, 5 days ago. Watch this number continue to skyrocket. You have Alejandro Kirk hammering the ball. Remember, him and Lourdes Gurriel were the bottom 10 in the league with runners in scoring position. Teoscar is going to step up. Gurriel is going to step up. And then we already know what Bo Bichette and Guerrero Jr. do. So Royals versus righties, 234, 658 OPS. The Blue Jays bullpen's weak, 3.98 ERA, 1.23 whip, but not as weak as the Royals bullpen, 4.81 ERA, 1.51 whip. Take it away here, Pete. Blue Jays, Royals.
Yeah, Manoah is a stud. I haven't necessarily been auto betting on Toronto when they made their turnaround like you recommended, but I have pretty much been auto betting Manoah for a while now and doing well with it. And I did that yesterday before the last game, although I was also on Toronto yesterday, -1 as well. Cash with that. I took Toronto, and I took them on the first 3 innings. And it makes me a little bit nervous only because Keller seems like such an obvious fade, and he's definitely struggling. But, you know, in the beginning of the year, he was having some legitimately impressive, close to lights out starts. And he's a guy where, you know, his stuff is good. He's tinkering. It's not quite working yet, but at a certain point, it might start working a lot better than what we've seen from him. And, you know, obviously going up against Toronto is not a great spot to plan for that. But on the other hand, you know, Toronto's off of another big, you know, margin shutout win. And so I bet Toronto first 3 before yesterday's game, although I did expect yesterday's game to be a win for Toronto, which is why I bet that one. Didn't quite expect it to be as big as it was, though. So I guess I'm going to ride with it, but it makes me nervous. I'm as up on Manoah as everyone else is, and as you are. I think that's legitimate. I'm not quite as down on Keller, though, as everyone else is either. So, and when you're taking a massive favorite line, it's justifiable, you know. But and Toronto also has Casey has a terrible pen as well. So I'll be on Toronto here. It makes me a little bit nervous, though. I think Manoah is going to be good again, great again. And maybe the best way to bet is just like a KC team total under, which I haven't bet yet, but maybe I'll just add that one on. But yeah.
I have a sneaking suspicion that the Jays will be better on the road than they are at home.
Sure.
Because it's summertime in Toronto. They're the toast of the town. As soon it's going to be Carabana, and things are going to be absolutely wild. And they're going to be wanted everywhere by everybody. And they get out on the road, and they have no distractions.
Well,
Nobody cares that they're the Blue Jays.
Toronto teams are often way better on the road. I mean, in the CFL, that's been the case for years, right, Jim? You know that.
Well, that's a different reason. That's because nobody.
I know, but I'm just saying, like in general, Toronto teams often I find are, and Philly as well. Philly teams also tend to be. I mean, we're making gross generalizations here. You know what I mean?
But this is a very young team. That's the toast of the town. Everybody wants to talk Blue Jays and how much. So I think that the opportunity for us to get the cash will be on the road. And one thing that's happened this year, and it doesn't happen often, is anytime they've been dogs, notice Dennis Garcia hammers them. Anytime they've been dogs, But I digress. Is there anything you're making official here?
No, but it's nice to see Big Ragu saying Keller is treading in Homer Bailey territory. Billy Friedrich says Manoah's splits are a bit worse on the road, but that's also because the Toronto ballpark can be very friendly to pitchers as well.
Yeah.
You know, I'm going to ride with it. I think I want to make it official, though. I'm going to ride with it.
Okay. All right. Let's move on. And we have 3 games left in MLB, and we have finally arrived at the say hey play of the day. Please welcome back to the show, host of Say Hey Plays at 5:30 p.m. Eastern, here Monday to Friday, and 11:30 a.m. Eastern on the weekends. Jose Bouquet to the show. Jose, how are you?
I'm doing okay. Less angry now. But I'm doing all right. Jimmy happens to get a lot of my angry, just furious text messages nowadays.
Yeah.
So that's just one little relationship upgrade of a father-son relationship we've had the last couple of weeks.
What are you actually angry about, Jose Bouquet?
What am I angry about, Peter Loshak? What am I angry about? All right, Pete. I'll explain it to you, Pete. Now, there once was a boy who was so confident in the Celtics sweeping the Warriors, so confident that he came onto a show and said that the Celtics would beat them in either 4 or 5 games. And now, as someone that does not like basketball that much, I am fully invested, 100% invested in the Celtics. And the Golden State Warriors, on the face of it, everyone loves this team. Everyone's like, oh, Steph Curry, he's the best. Oh, the Golden State Warriors, they're so cool. Oh, my God. Well, go into a fucking playoff game against them. Go into a playoff series against them, and you'll find out every reason you hate them. Draymond Green is the worst basketball player in the NBA right now. He's right up there with the Patrick Beverleys of the world. He's just the same guy trying to trick everyone with his bullshit. And I hope he enjoys his podcast when he retires in the next couple of years because he can't hit a fucking shot to save his life. Jordan Poole is the most overrated player in basketball, and it's not even close. That is the most underappreciated statement I've said this whole year. He is not the sweat off my ass, and he is horrible. He's just the luckiest guy. The only thing he can do is shoot a 3, and if he was on any other team, he'd be eviscerated. And I cannot wait till he plays in Game 3 so the Celtics can keep taking advantage of him.
Okay, you convinced me.
Thank you.
There you go. Those are all legitimate reasons. Sure.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's why he's angry, I guess. Now, you still have a ton of faith in your squad. Have some nerves?
No, I said Celtics in 5. I mean, I was annoyed they won that game. That was the only game they were going to win. I said before the game, if they're going to win one, it's going to be that one. I mean, they're the Golden State Warriors. They're fucking 5-time defending champions. Steph Curry, all this. Well, he's the only player that I respect on that squad, actually. He's better than LeBron. Klay Thompson's as washed up as fucking Kingdom Come. So I cannot wait for Game 3 tomorrow and another Celtics ass whooping.
I don't believe that they are 5-time defending NBA champions. I don't believe that's the right stats there, but I'm excited. You've added a few things to the series, and you've made it very exciting.
I'll rebet it again too. I am going to lose so much money if the Celtics lose this series. So much money.
Well, let's focus on the positive right now. Your Boston Red Sox are a game over 500 and moving in the right direction and going to make the AL East even more fun to watch as we roll through. Let's talk about this spot. Boston Red Sox 15-13 on the road at the Angels, 27-29, 15-14 at home. Angel Stadium in Anaheim, California. Let's start with the weather in Anaheim. 74 Fahrenheit at first pitch, 8.3 miles per hour out to left center. It dies down to 5.7 miles an hour. Let's move over to the line history in this Red Sox game. Opened up at minus 130. I guess it just opened up 30 minutes ago. So it's only been around for 30 minutes, so there's been no movement. The total opened up at 9, minus 120 to the under. Garrett Whitlock coming off a great start, 7-1 win at home versus Red. 6 innings, 5 hits, 1 run wasn't earned. No strikeouts, no walks, interestingly enough. 3.02 ERA, 1.10 whip. Still has 44 Ks and 44 and 2/3. Nice K to walk ratio regardless, and only 5 home runs allowed. Going up against Reed Detmers. You never know what the hell you're going to get with Reed Detmers. His last start at the Yankees was very good. I mean, he only made it 4 1/3, but he didn't allow a run. 4 Ks, 3 walks, 5 hits. A lot of people thought he was going to get lit up. The Red Sox are raking against lefties, 265, 771 OPS, and the Angels numbers are dropping against righties, 240, 725 OPS. I don't know what Trout is on right now, but he was 0 for his last 23 as of some point this weekend. He got a hit. He changed that. did put a smile on my face. As you know, we are battling with Vladdy and Trout, and you have a big advantage at this point. Bullpen, Red Sox, 3.89 ERA, 1.22 whip. Angels, 4.30 ERA, 1.20 whip. And for cash flow, I don't imagine it will help us. Yes, only 416 tickets in. All the money is coming in on the Boston Red Sox, but who cares? Sample size is tiny, and all the money is coming in on the over. But again, tiny sample size. TJ says Boston pounds left-handed pitching. Fresh pen. Trout, no Otani slump. Rendon, Ward, hurt. This is a gift. He says, you know what that means, and I use that term rarely. Let's hear it.
Well, like you said, Reed Detmers starts, right? Because this line, like you said, just came out like 30 minutes ago. It was a little trepidatious about that. But I've faded Reed before. I called him a slapdick. 2 starts later, he threw a no-hitter. And we faded him almost every start since then, actually. I think the Red Sox win today. I think this game's an over game. I will just reference quickly some Twitter stat. Let me pull it up real quick because I don't want to misquote it. I got just a new follow. There's lovely gambling information all across the internet if you look for it. But according to Mitch Bannon, shout out to you. Oh, no, I'm looking at the wrong thing. Hold on. Sorry. I'm in a fucking mess. I know. This whole thing is falling apart. The Celtics have got me rattled. The Oklahoma State fucking blew a huge game yesterday. Just pisses me off. But since a team loses 1-0, they're 60% more, I guess, since the track record, 60% chance of winning, or the track record of winning after the next game. So that's a factor that worries me about the Red Sox here. Angels might come back hot here. The overs also cash after a 1-0 game here. You guys mentioned it with the Reed Detmers lefty against Red Sox first, 193 weighted runs created plus. Against the Angels right now, against righties, 91 weighted runs created plus, 11 straight losses. I'm going to keep riding the Red Sox here. I've mentioned yesterday on the show how important this series is to the Red Sox. They need to take 3 out of 4 in this series. And I'll mention this again. I know it's super early to talk playoffs, but this is the team that they were competing against for that last wild card spot. They lose the first series 2-1. They need to win this series 3-4 because there's no more tie-breaking game 163 anymore. So they have to win the series 3-4. I will take the Red Sox here. The worrisome part is, of course, Garrett Whitlock and his no strikeouts last time out. That was a little weird. And he has, I wouldn't say struggled, but he's not been the same dominant guy that he has been in the bullpen. So I will gladly take the Red Sox money line here on Bovada. They don't have the lines out right now. So Pinnacle, I'm looking at a -118, and I do like the over 8.5 as well.
You want to make them both official?
Si, senor.
Okay, say hey. Play of the day is Red Sox at -118. And what's the over? 8.5? Or
yeah, Pinnacle right now, it's at -114 for the over 8.5.
Over 8.5, -114. We have Jose Bouquet on the board. Madden Zach, thank you so much for the dono, my friend. It means a ton to us. Thank you for your support, my guy. Let's move over to Pistol Pete Loshak. We've seen, and your record.
I got fucking crushed yesterday, of course, because I'm just that's the kind of days that we've been having. But 1-3 yesterday. We go down 2 units after up 2 units the previous day, but we're still 192 and 185, up 12 units on the year. So I can't complain. The Celtics series has admittedly got me a little rattled, but that will only last a couple of more days, and then I'll be Boston for the parade. So
got you shook. Okay, that's okay. It's okay. When you do very well from Tuesday to Friday generally. So let's get you back into the winners column.
It's your fault. I mean, I just need my father holding my hand throughout this whole thing, apparently, especially when the fucking Celtics have me enraged. I can't wait. You should just have your phone ready on Wednesday because I'm going to be insufferable.
And as you know, anytime you reach for my hand, I'll slap you in the face.
That's okay.
Pistol Pete Loshak, what do you think?
Before Jose goes, can I just ask him one question?
He's going to stick around for this whole breakdown. I
was liking the over here as well. And my question for you is, what are your thoughts on the Angels offense right now? I mean, obviously when Rendon and Ward come back, that's a huge boost. And that is It hurts them a lot right now. But do the Angels, in your opinion, have a serve? I mean, obviously Trout I'm not exactly sure what's going on with him, but he's going to bounce back in at least a pretty big way at some point. What's your take on the Angels' offensive struggles right now?
I think I mentioned this yesterday as well, and you mentioned it too, Pete. There are a couple of teams this year that you've seen go into those cold spells and then just snap out of it with some form or fashion. Red Sox began the season like this. Then it was the Phillies with Joe Girardi. Now it's the Angels. I said yesterday as well that Joe Madden's days are numbered. Joe Girardi was my first guy. I was like, he's done by July. I overshot that by a lot. Joe Madden is in that same category. If this does not change, Joe Madden's ass is going to be fired. Not a doubt in my mind. No doubt in my mind. And that might be the thing that gets the boys going. Yesterday, I looked it up just to double check and make sure. I was like, did he get his contract extension or something? Last year of his contract. I think he's a dead man walking. He got a little snippy with the media yesterday, too. That's always your sign that the manager's frustrated and all this shit. So I think the Angels are going to struggle until he gets fired, which could be very soon. I understand he is like I would call him a top 5 manager in the last 20 years in the American League. You know, he did all this shit with the Rays, but I think that he gets very tired after a while. He gets very old. All the antics get old. Trout, Ohtani, all those guys can get tired of all that shit. So I do think the Angels struggle here today. Offensively, especially because you guys have mentioned that the absences, Ohtani and Trout, you know, they're the pillars that keep this shit going, and without them, they would not be anything. But Taylor Ward is someone that really changed their lineup, and ever since he took that big head-on collision into the wall, and I believe it was in Oakland, it wasn't the same since then, and their season kind of changed since then. So I am on the Red Sox here, even though I read that stat earlier today, or earlier in the show, is 60% win rate for the teams that lose 1-0 in a 1-0 game, and the over as well hitting at a high rate. So I like both of those stats here. I'm fading one of them against the Red Sox because I think that this team is kind of dead here, but I do like the over.
And also when he walked, this was like 2 months ago, 6 weeks ago, when he walked Seager with the bases loaded.
What a drunk.
I was like, oh no. Like,
what are we doing?
At this point, I was like, you're not going to last long in this league if that's the decisions you're making. And I couldn't wait for the presser. And then he's like, well, we won the game, didn't we? You know, and I was like, oh, God.
Yeah. And that's been his whole, he's been so defensive this whole year. It's like, oh, you don't think we're competing anymore? Nah, dude, this guy, he is 100. I will guarantee anything. He is not lasting the season with the Angels. 13-game losing streak about to come. And by the way, I finally pulled up the numbers because I couldn't find it forever. 40-13 our teams after a 1-0 loss. So take that with what you will. I do still think the Red Sox win. I don't like the Angels squad right now. And the over, like I said, has gone over in 60% of games after it. So there you go.
I mean, the difference between the Angels right now and the Red Sox and the Jays is that with the Angels, it's just the injuries. I mean, it's like Ward was such a friggin' beast.
Yeah, he was incredible. He was the heart of that lineup, and that's the heart with Trout and Ohtani there. He just sets a table and brings and then he got brought in. But it's just, you know, you can't do it. You just can't do it with that lineup right now.
All right, Jim, you can make the over 8.5 minus 114 official for me. I was gonna bet that one. That was the way when the lines came out. I was like, I'm really gonna want the over. The Angels offense, we'll see what they can do, but you can make that official over 8.5 minus 114 current line at Pinnacle.
Wow. Noli, by the way, letting me know that we can bet that. Girardi was apparently plus 500 the days before he was fired. That's insanity. I mean, if you watch Say Hey Plays, I said that he was going to get fired a long time ago. I mean, that's just craziness.
Wow. That's wild. Wow. I can't even believe that plus 500. All right. I like that look from both of you guys. I think that I'm going to roll with you guys on the over. I like it. I think I'm with you guys. So,
minus 114, Jim.
Yeah, you guys are locked in. Say Hey Play today. Red Sox minus 118. The over 8.5 minus 114. Pete's also on the over 8.5 and minus 114. Who's the special guest on today's show, Jose?
We've got a little Dabby Cab action with us today. So shout out to Dabby. He'll be busy day for that Dabby Cab. He's the busiest man in show business now. I love to see the meteoric rise of Dabby Cab and his baseball capping. I love it. So and by the way, Roger that is very shook because Joe Madden won that World Series with the Cubs, and I'm sorry. What was that? 2013? Come on. We can't be living off 2013 titles in 2022. Girardi lived off of his title from 09 fucking forever. Let's stop that nonsense. Congratulations, Joe Madden. You've got the ring, but he's just objectively a shit manager now. Just objectively shit. Just like Draymond Green.
Billy's poking him right there. Billy's like, the Cubs beat the Indians, and he's laughing. I love it. I love the chat. I love all of that. That was great stuff. Yes, my man.
Add on first 3 over 2.5 minus 115. Add on. I'm sorry. I'm sure that whatever Jose was just saying was hilarious, but I was doing some intense handicapping and analysis right there. First 3 over 2.5 minus 115. Let's double up.
You are in. Wallaby King is still living off his 2013 greatness. See, my 2013 year was terrible, awful. So. Okay, let's move on. We got 2 games left, then we will review all action. And don't forget, everybody watching, don't forget, it is Belmont Stakes Week. Belmont Stakes Week. There it is right there. Belmont Stakes, Saturday, June 11th. And I got a lot of making up to do for my everything that's happened to me in the Triple Crown since Maximum Security got taken off the top. Ever since then, I'm just getting killed. I got killed on Preakness Day, and when I was overly confident on Epicenter, and I'm going to call all guns a-blazing here. I need glory, and I can't wait for the opportunity for redemption. 9:40 p.m. Eastern. Let's move on. New York Mets 38-19, 19-11 on the road at San Diego Padres 33-22, 13-11 at home. We're Petco Park in San Diego, California. Taijuan Walker versus Yu Darvish. Taijuan Walker 3-1, 2.88 ERA, 1.28 WHIP, just 21 Ks and 40 2/3, but he's pitched very well, allowed just 2 home runs. And Max Scherzer has taken Taijuan Walker under his wing. Last start, Walker 5 2/3, 7 hits, 2 runs, 2 Ks, 1 walk, and a 2-0 loss at the Dodgers, but he looked very good. Yu Darvish 4-3, 4.03 ERA, 1.09 WHIP, 48 Ks and 16 1/3, 5 home runs. I never know when he's going to be lights out and when he's going to get touched, and I don't know if it's a home and road thing anymore either. I mean, you can have more confidence with him at home, but last start was on the road, 7 2/3, 7 hits, 5 runs, 1 homer, 4 Ks, 2 walks, and a 5-2 loss. Mets versus righties, 275, 764 OPS. They smash righties. Padres versus righties, just 227, 643 OPS. Mets bullpen being good, 3.46 ERA, 1.18 WHIP. Padres bullpen, I don't know what to say about it. Volatility. And when I cashed that Brewers had 9 guys hitting 220 in their lineup, and they came back with 4 runs without suffering an out against this bullpen. I mean, sure, I was happy, but I don't know what the Padres bullpen is going to give you anymore. I find them difficult. Let's talk about the weather here in San Diego. 65 Fahrenheit, the first pitch, 5.6 miles per hour out to right center. Dies down to 4.6. Move over to the cash flow in this spot. Opens up yesterday, 5:04 p.m. with the Padres minus 130. Has not moved. The total has not moved either. But there was an initial 10-cent move to the under that happened 28 minutes in, but it's come back. So it's right where it started, minus 115 to the over. And when we go to cash here in this spot, let's see where the money lies. We have 6,973 tickets in, 25% of tickets, 27% of cash on the Padres, and 36% of tickets, 65% of cash on the under. Maybe that is the look, but I didn't know what to do. Let's see if Pete can shed some light on the spot. Mets Padres.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a pass for me for a lot of the reasons the people in the comments section are identifying. I was big on the Mets yesterday, although not as big as I should have been, because at the last minute I got distracted texting these fucking bumble milfs who are fucking eating me alive, Jimmy the Bag. So I was on the Mets yesterday pretty decently, but I should have been on much bigger. It was a great spot for them. This one is a little tougher. I'd definitely be leaning Mets for sure. Darvish much better at home this year, but still, far from lights out. And the Mets are just an impressive team, a tough lineup. And then Taijuan Walker is not bad. Doesn't really get Ks, but getting decent results. And San Diego is a lineup that he should be able to be okay with. He's historically done well against the Padres and in this at Petco. So Walker should be okay. Darvish could be lights out, but probably won't be. So I'd definitely be leaning the Mets as a dog here. Haven't pulled the trigger on it yet, and I'm not sure what I'll do. I might have who knows? I might have a big bet on the Mets first pitch, on the Mets by first pitch. But yeah, Darvish. I think Darvish will be okay. But as people talked about, playing the under makes me nervous as well. It's just going to be a pass for me. Low confidence all around here, Jim.
If you had a free bet on the first 5, I think I'm going to be off of it. But I was going to ask it until you kind of swayed me off at the very end of your breakdown there. But if you had a free bet on the first 5, total at 4 at a pick'em, what would you do?
Probably take the under.
Yeah.
I mean, definitely I'd take the under. Yeah. I think Walker will be okay. Darvish will be. It's just tough because, both Darvish and Walker are good, but not great, and 4 is not a super high total, especially with the Mets lineup,
Yeah. Yeah, I lean to that.
I mean, but I do think it's my expectation for Darvish is like 6-2, 6 runs, 6 innings, 2 runs or so, and probably Walker's the same.
Let's go back to this cash flow one more time. 36% of tickets on the other, 65% of cash. Huh. Okay.
Ricci says under the trap. It feels very trappy. Shout out to Don Ricci. Gave me a hat once. God, I love it when people give me hats or anything, but especially hats. I love it. This is a present from Mr. Gokster right here, Jimmy the Bag.
Yes, I'm gonna rock. Oh, I kept it off the. I've got a hat from Gokster. I'm gonna rock it tomorrow. Belleville Senators hat, and also, this hat was a gift from none other than Elio.
No shit.
Yeah. Because remember, he used to always tell us,
wherever he may be.
He used to always tell us that he was sharpening his buck knife. So he got this. It's a treat. This one's from Slaughter.
Oh no! Oh, look at that white Tampa! Wow.
This one's from Dutch Boy Fresh right here. This Vegas hat.
Wow.
I love it too. And I got a package from the legend, the Big Ragu, this past week, and I got the Blue Jays spring training hat, which I'm in love with. I wore it the first day. I also got the spring training book from that game here. Blue Jays. What a guy the Big Ragu is. I get it. It's fun. Very, very fun. Great group of friends we have. So Dommy Gunn says that that feels like that first under is a trap. The first 5 under 4.
If you gave me a free bet, that's what I'd do. That's a free bet.
Yeah. Okay. Let's move on to the final game on the board. 9:45 p.m. Eastern. Colorado Rockies 23-31, 7-15 on the road at the San Francisco Giants 29-24, 13-11 at home. We're at Oracle Park in San Francisco, California. May I reiterate how lucky and thankful I am that I have the opportunity to cap with you, Pete, and these great cappers in the chat. It just means the world to me. And thank you guys for your support of the show. We have nothing without you guys. In San Francisco, 56 Fahrenheit at first pitch, 16.9 miles per hour out to center. And it stays heavy throughout the game, but it does swirl there. So it's not quite as big of a deal. Let's take a look at the line movement in this Marquez Rodon start. There's been a big move towards the San Francisco Giants and Carlos Rodon. They opened up at minus 192. They're now up to minus 225. And when we look at the total, opened up at 7.5 and is now at 8. Had a pick 'em. There's been times at 8 it's gone up to minus 115, but it's right now at a pick 'em right now. Let's move over to the cash flow in this one final game on the board. Slight line value still with the Giants, even at this price, says Sports Insights.
Wow, really?
Yeah,
wow.
Just slight, but more than a sliver. So of the spots on the board, this is tied for the 4th most value. It's tied on the entire board is the Giants and tied with the Marlins. So we have 8,952 tickets in, 92% of the tickets, 96% of the cash on the San Francisco Giants, 77% of tickets on the over, and just 47% of cash on that over. Herman Marquez was predicted here on the show by Pistol Beat Loshak that there was something wrong with him and that he'd be on the DL by June 15th.
That didn't happen. But he has continued to suck, which I guess is even better than having the prediction be right.
Yeah, and still 8 days. 1 in 5, 6.71 ERA, 1.62 WHIP, 46 Ks in 55 innings. His last start, 5 innings, 7 hits, 7 runs, 6 of which were earned, 3 homers, 5 Ks, 3 walks, in a 13-12 extra inning win at home versus the Marlins. Carlos Rodon bounced back of late, 5 innings, 6 hits, 2 runs, just 1 was earned, 6 Ks, 1 walk, and a 6-5 loss at Philadelphia. And we know the Phillies can hit lefties hard. 3.44 ERA, 1.25 WHIP. Remember, he started the season like Cy Young. He's fallen off. Rockies versus lefties, 296, 803 OPS. Giants versus righties, 246, 732 OPS. Rockies' worst bullpen in the league, 5.18 ERA, 1.48 WHIP. And the Giants' bullpen has fallen apart since a good start, 4.47 ERA, 1.35 WHIP. Excuse me, Pistol Pete. Here we go. Last game on the board. Rockies, Giants. Take it away.
Yeah, shout out to Ronnie and Bergie for putting a great comment there. He says, "We are family, unlike other channels with Sharpies trying to gaslight you and sell you their package. I might want to brand myself the gaslighting capper. That might not be a bad brand to try to build there. Yeah,
will it help with the Bumble MILFs?
Yeah,
all we care about.
Gaslighting sociopathic capper. This is a tough one. I might have missed the boat on this one, and I guess it is one of those games where if you miss the boat, sometimes it's just better to just stay off. I'm not trying to gaslight anyone here. I really might just stay off. Marquez continues to get hit. He has, shown signs that he can string together good innings, just not like 5 or 6. But he can string 3 or 4. And Rodon, we know the deal with him. When he's on his game, he's unhittable and lights out. But he throws his pitch arsenal is tough on his elbow. And when he gets injured, he can be very hittable, kind of at unexpected times. And when I first looked at this game, I did not pull the trigger on San Francisco. I was thinking this might be very, very trappy. I was like, here we go. I have a gut comment here. Geez. Gut says Colorado might get this one, ... maybe stay off, ... So, I haven't bet it. I might have a bet by first pitch, but I was actually leaning Colorado, maybe leaning over and leaning Colorado team total over at just 2.5. I mean, that's tough, but, a lot of times in Colorado, we've seen this in years past, they play at their home park, whatever. And then when they go to supposedly hitter unfriendly parks, like on the West Coast only though, like San Diego and San Francisco, those series can be very unexpectedly high scoring. And I wouldn't at all be surprised if that would happen here. So I haven't bet it yet. If I do, it'll be close to first pitch, but lean over, and believe it or not, leaning Colorado and the Colorado team total over.
Interesting. Interesting. If you lean towards Colorado and the Colorado team total over, I mean, don't you think Marquez is vulnerable? Wouldn't that lead you to the full game over?
Yeah. Oh, no. That's what I said. I also lean over for sure.
And it's moved from 7.5 to 8. So is it because it's already moved that half run? If it was 7.5 right now, would you bet it?
I don't know, Jim. You asked it. You're trying to gaslight me, you fuck. I don't know. I don't even know what gaslighting is. Is it lying? No, it's kind of like lying, but not real lying. Well, I don't know what the fuck it is. All right.
It's when someone steps on your nuts.
If it was I don't. The problem is, it's like there's a lot. If Rodon is 8 innings and 1 run, that would not be surprising at all. Marquez probably is going to get hit. But then again, the Colorado offense is still a little bit iffy. I don't know what I would do, Jim. I probably will have a bet on this one, small by first pitch, but as of right now, I can't go with anything public.
Noli Knows, the man making unders great again, is leaning to the over. Again, Noli Knows will be on our show tomorrow, and Big Ragu Thursday, Babano on Friday. Okay, very interesting breakdown. I've not moved, but hearing Noli leaning towards the over, which is unheard of, happens a few times a year.
Wait, Noli likes the over on this one?
Yeah.
And all right, well, that makes me, yeah, okay. See, now, yeah.
Is it because it's moved to 8? That's the problem. You feel like we're late to the party.
No, because I believe that I also have high volatility associated with both starters here and both lineups. So the move from 7.5 to 8 is not as concerning as it would be in other spots.
All right, move from 7.5 to 8. Let's just take one more look at the cash flow here. In this spot, again, 77% of tickets are on the over and 47% of the cash. And I wonder if that should be enough for give me pause. All right, let's we get a lot of gaslighting information here.
Pete, to gaslight is basically when you're right about something and someone tells you that you're wrong, you're being gaslit, Pete. Like when people tell me that I'm wrong about Draymond Green, I'm being gaslit because he's a player and he sucks at the sport.
Yeah. So if that's what it is, and so why is it so? It seems like gaslighting is fun. I would like to gaslight then. I don't know why it has such a negative reputation.
Well,
I have no idea.
I'm sure she wants to be gaslit.
Who?
Her as well. Her as well. All right, let's get back to work here and review all action. All action. In NHL, I'm on the Lightning -1. Pete is on the first period under 1.5. Rangers team total under 2.5. Lightning -1. We're getting a little bit of feedback, Pete. Do you mind? Yeah, I imagine it is. Yeah.
Maybe it's just, hold on one second. I'll be right back. Hold on one second.
Okay. So we have. Oh, hello. Hello. I'm on Lightning -1 and -106. Pete's on the first period under 1.5. Rangers team total under 2.5. Lightning -1. And Ragu took the Lightning first period -0.5. And I think it's worth it.
Quick question. If Lightning Avalanche happens, it'll be the best Stanley Cup since?
Oh. I don't know. We haven't had a real beauty in a while. Even though 6 games here, I'd like to see a nice 7-gamer for a Stanley. So I guess you'd have to go back to the Blues Bruins was a 7-gamer. But I was, I'd lost money on my futures that year. I was pretty angry. So that was a hell of a Stanley Cup Finals. But I was
I was also not pleased with it either. I was thinking it was the last good one was the last time Vancouver made the Stanley Cup, and you guys almost burned down your city, apparently.
Yeah, that was awful.
That was the last Stanley Cup that I remember being good, personally.
Yeah, that was awful. Fucking awful. Fun fact, Mike M says, if Rangers go to Game 7 in Madison Square Garden, it's scheduled for the same day as a Justin Bieber concert. Says, get your tinfoil hat on. This one isn't going 7. I like it. I have to do this. I have to bet the Lightning first period -0.5. I have to. It correlates too much from my plan here. I think the Lightning will be all over them in the first period. And now, the big win that the Avalanche had in Edmonton in Game 3, it was 0-0 after the first period. And it was 3-0, 10 minutes into the second. But it just correlates too much to my feelings here, is that the Lightning will be all over them in the first period. So I'm going to do that. Lightning first period -0.5. I will be adding. Ronnie and Bergia says Pens Red Wings 09. That was a hell of a. Fireside says New York Rangers take the slow Game 1 from the Avs coming off week of rest. They win the Stanley Cup undefeated at home since Game 1 against the Penguins. I'm on the other side, Fireside, but we'll see, buddy. That's what it's all about. Okay, so I'm going to add that first period -0.5. I really do. I just think the series has changed.
But don't the Rangers tend to start out fast in the first period in playoff games on the road? Like even the games they ultimately wound up losing or getting blown out, they seem like they were competitive early.
Yes, I think that's a fair thing to say, but I just think everything has changed.
Yeah,
I think everything's changed. Personally,
you think that that Tampa Bay is going to shut them down in the first period, and that they're not going to even let them get any good chances? Vasilevsky's going to stand on his head, all that stuff.
Yes, but I don't know if the Lightning are capable of blowing any teams out.
But they're capable of shutting teams down, though, aren't they?
They are. They certainly are. The highest scoring team in the last 20 years scored 3 goals against them in the series.
Okay, then I'll partially go on this one with you, Jimmy the Bag. I'll take Rangers, no goal in the first period at Pinnacle, -112. I will go on this one with you, pal.
No goal first period.
-112.
Okay. The gas report, I believe I spent like 25 minutes explaining it off the top in every way I possibly could. But I'll just reiterate why it's changed. It's changed because the Rangers had their foot on the throat of the Lightning and couldn't finish them off. And the Lightning got off the mat and showed why they're two-time defending Stanley Cup champions. And the momentum is completely swayed. In that third period, you could say, oh, the Rangers were up. They took the foot off the gas. The Lightning tied it up a minute and a half into the third period. So it was 2-2, a minute and a half in the third period, and the Lightning completely took over the series. The 7-game series against Pittsburgh, the 7-game series against Carolina will now rear its ugly head against a fresher Lightning squad that's playing at home. And the Lightning took over the series. So the Rangers' best punch dazed the Lightning. They got off the mat, they got their shit together, and now they're going to win the series, in my estimation. And if you guys are on the other side, it's like I'm not, trust your gut. The one thing you don't want to have happen in these huge games is to lose a bet that was based on somebody else's feelings and not your own. So if you disagree with me, by all means, make your move. I'm making mine. So, okay. So I'm adding a move, and Pistol Pete has 4 bets on this spot. First period under 1.5. Rangers team total under 2.5. Rangers no goal in the first period, and Lightning -1. And James jumped on his first college football bet. West Virginia +6 against Penn. I love that. I can't wait. We'll be talking a lot of college football here. So that's the NHL. And look, AM is adamant, and he's a great capper, and he's adamant that the Rangers take care of business tonight. We're on different sides of the fence, and Okay, so let's review all MLB action. Speaking, Ron Crawford spreadsheet play the days Detroit Tigers. AM's on the barbecue sauce titty play day Phillies money line. Mike M is on the Storm over 152, and don't forget we have big shows coming up here at 3:10 p.m. Eastern. We have Sharpie's show for the Walking Dead with prize picks, a look at the prop market, and then we have at 4 p.m. WNBA starring Tues. And then at 5:30 p.m., we have Say Hey Plays of the Day with special guest Dabby Cap. So this is our action. And Lamont Williams is at Tampa Bay Lightning or Tampa Bay Rays. And Joe Free sitting on a +1,000 Lightning ticket to win the Cup. That's a great look, Joe. I wonder if you got it in the Leaf series or you got it when they were sort of struggling after Slatsy and I moved on it, because Slatsy and I were like 3 weeks too early or a month too early, and I thought it was the right time, but I was very much off. So I only have 7-1, but I want it badly. Okay, let's talk. Pete's on the Guardians -111 in game 1. I want in. He's staying off game 2. Pete's on the Reds first 3 -130, full game -1. I want in too. I love this breakdown. I'm not going to take the first 3, but I'm going to move on it. Pete's on the under 9, Washington, Miami Marlins. That was a great breakdown. Pete's also on the Cubs -1 at +119. He's on the Detroit Tigers no-run first inning. Detroit, Pittsburgh no-run first inning. I'm on the Tigers first 5 and full game -20 and -120, -125 respectively. I'm going to move on the first 5 over in St. Louis, Tampa. Oakland, Atlanta. We heard Pete is all over Oakland. He didn't make it official here. And
no, I was all over the over on the opening line is what I was all over. Yeah. But I also did bet the Oakland team total over and the and small Oakland -1 for sure.
Yeah, no, it was great. Mike M, Tampa Bay to win the series 4-2 at +400. It's fine for a very little bet, but I just think we bet them one game at a time. And I guess I take that back, because if they win game 4, the Rangers are going to be dogs in game 5, and there's going to be a ton of people on them. God, that's going to be a fun game. God, I hope it's 2-2 and we go back to Madison Square Garden. Fuck, that's just fucking must-watch TV. Joe Free says, I got it when Vasi was struggling, not quite himself. Then he pulled himself back together. Vasi's the best goalie in the world, man. I agree with you, Joe. And if the goaltender who wants that crown is Shesterkin, and he will probably, take that mantle from him at some point, but doesn't have it yet. Oh, and Wallaby Kings lighting a candle for John Gray. The Yankees is available now. We were waiting to see if the pitcher's confirmed. Did you now want to move on the Yankees?
Nah, yeah, I'll just go with what I got.
Big Ragu is on Ranger Suarez to pitch over 4.5 innings at -105. He's on Cole Irvin to throw over 1.5 walks at -105. He's on the Tampa Bay first period -0.5 +155. That just correlates with my feelings, and I've got to take the risk and go for the score or lose. But I've got to. It's a pretty nice payout if I'm right, and it's worth it, I think. Cubs first 5 -0.5 at +120 is his other move. Mike M. Pimp slap play today, back in business for my man Mike, is White Sox first 5 +0.5. White Sox first 3 -105 is Pete's action. Pete there. And I like White Sox early. Oh, no, you know what? It was the first 3. I think I like that you narrowed it down to the first 3. I'm going to roll with you on that first 3. Thank you, Preston Eckall, sharing to buy me a coffee here in our link. Thank you for sharing that, Preston. I was asked about by I think Real Deal or Billy. I'm not sure which one of you guys asked for it, but there it is. And Joe Free says Igor's a fantastic goalie. Don't get me wrong, but after this year, nobody should be able to say Vasily's not the greatest. If the Lightning win the Stanley Cup this year, Vasilevsky could be claimed that he's the greatest goaltender in NHL history, and he's only 28 years old. So I agree with that. Okay, then AM is Barbecue Sauce City play today's Phillies money line. I'm going to move on the Brewers full game in the under 8.5. I hate going up against AM in this spot. Maybe it's a mistake. Maybe I should double think or think about it a little more. But Astros first 3 -190 is Pistol Pete Loshak. I doubled up on the Jays first 5 -0.5 at -130. This was yesterday afternoon. That first 3 -0.5 is now -165. Also, I got -161 on the -1. I destroyed those market moves. If you want to bet the Blue Jays, bet it right now or as soon as the book allows you to. And if you're going to fade the Blue Jays, wait till the very last second. Say hey, play today's Red Sox -118, the over 8.5 -114. Pete's on the over 8.5 -114. I'm going to tail that. And Pete also added the first 3 over 2.5 -115. I'm still thinking about that first 5 under 4 in New York, San Diego. And I'm going to move on the over 8 in Colorado, San Francisco. There you go. There is our action. Thank you all so much for joining us. We have no show without you guys. It means the world to us that you support us. Ergo, Caustic, Real Deal Prime, Mad, Stony. Joe Free says, I'm with you on the Lightning first period. Yeah, I think we have to. And Tampa Bay have been lucky, They have sort of been lucky through the playoffs. I get it. When you win 3 1-goal games in a row against the Leafs. I mean, if the Leafs take out the Lightning there, I think they run all the way to the Stanley Cup final. But they couldn't get over the hump in the first round. We saw the Avalanche get over that second round hump and then have, play very comfortably and freely in that conference final, sweeping the Oilers. But a lot of people always say you have to be good to be lucky. You have to be good to be lucky. And I think that there's a lot of truth in that. Lamont Williams, Lightning and the Rays. I love it. Billy Friedrich, Cashman 19, Wallaby King. Great group that we run with. T-Mac, Mike M, Lamont Williams, Johnny K, Harold Williams, D. Jenkins. Thank you guys so much for your support. HD2, Ronnie and Bergia, Max Swelly, James S, Nikolai Jubinski, and he's on the Rangers alternate line -1.5 +340. God, it's going to be fun. And I'm not, Officer 50 Ayash Allah says, I see the Rangers have Stanley Cup final. God, it's going to be fun. This added so many layers being on the other side with cappers I respect very much. Jose, any last words you would like to share here, my friend?
Yeah, Pete always asks me questions about baseball, and now it's time for me to ask him a question.
Okay. Oh, God.
I just want to know, Pete, if you're going to be on the right side of history or not, because you're not going to be on for another week. And by then, the NBA Finals will have already been completed, and we'll already have a winner. So, Pete, I just want to know. I know you don't like basketball or the other word that.
No, I love basketball. I'm actually okay at WNBA and great at college basketball usually, but NBA is tough for me for whatever reason.
You've had a good year with us.
Yeah, I've had a good year. Yeah, sure.
Well, Pete, I just want to know if you're on the right side of history. Who's going to win the NBA Finals, Pete?
I have no clue. I know I was on goal
Pete!
first half in game 2 though, and got lucky because I took the money lines, not the spreads. But and then they blew them out the second half. What Boston did in game 1, coming back like that, I was like, holy shit, this is a team I'm scared of. Fading.
Well, Pete, I was just wanting you to tell me that the Celtics are going to win to make me feel better. So thank you for not doing that and hurting my feet.
Get out of here, you gaslighting fuck. Try to make me look stupid on camera. It didn't work. I looked even better than when you popped in. Ha ha. You anti-gaslit me. It didn't work.
Oh, that's great stuff. Pete,
I'm like gaslighting proof. You can't do, well, at least, no, I can, but not Jose Bouquet.
Yeah, don't let Jose do this. We love you guys. Thank you so much. Any final thoughts here before we put a bow on this, Pete?
Yeah. Jose Bouquet doesn't know everything, but he knows more than me when it comes to MLB. Shout out to you, Jose Bouquet.
We love you guys. Thank you for your support. Let's get that cash. Leche. Hey, los bookmakers.